Are you looking to become a Tier 1 operator in the gaming world? Elevate your games with Black Site Studio Terrain.
Morning, everybody.
Alrighty, let me turn my mic on there. All right, is everyone able to hear both of us? Because science teacher, if I can get a sound check, if you can hear me, and if you can hear Dylan. Sound on both. Okay, cool. Alrighty. So, Mr. Dylan, what's going on with you over there on your side of the world? Anything new? Anything old?
No, just still going at uni. I got a couple of pracs at a law firm this week, so pretty
Oh man,
busy.
awesome.
What about yourself, Jim? How's post-hurricane Florida?
Which hurricane? We've had more than one.
Oh, have you?
Well, I shouldn't say that. That was more of a tropical storm than a hurricane, but yeah, another near miss. Happy to say. Let me just make sure that I have nothing going here that I can get rid of. Alrighty. Alright, let me
If
get my.
anyone wants,
I'm
if
sorry, go
anyone
ahead.
wants a better comparison, Jim's place almost got flooded the other week, and about 30 kilometers north of me, there's massive bushfires going on. So we're
Oh,
totally on opposite sides of the planet.
yeah, right. Although we have our own little, what's the word? Brush fire season. It's usually in spring. Here in the tropics, or I should say subtropics, we don't really have a summer and a winter. We have a dry season and a wet season. So the end of September is the end of hurricane season. That's pretty much the beginning of quote unquote winter, and that's pretty much the dry season. And it just doesn't rain in Florida between October and April. It's just a drought.
Very similar here, pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's the weather's gorgeous. It's when all the prices triple and all the roads get clogged up with traffic because everybody from up north comes down here, and the state becomes an absolute. We call it the Walking Dead down here because like all these old people come down here from up north. Anyway, they all pile down here. I mean, okay, it supports our economy, but it's also a pain in the ass. But what was I going to say? After all that, um, yeah, right before the rains start again, either in May or June. June is like a solid month of rain down here. Usually, it's like Noah's flood for 30 days. The problem is right before then we're bone dry. It just takes like one redneck with a cigarette butt or something before you know it. Half the Everglades are on fire. So
Yep.
hopefully we are not going to have that problem again. Saying hi from Kansas. Oh, cool. You know what? That reminds me. Thanks very much, because science teacher. I did promise some people that we were going to keep an eye on YouTube this time. So let
Oh,
me
cool.
go over to make sure we are set up on YouTube here. And I just noticed that on YouTube um, our title is incorrect. It still says Gianna's Live Armor 3 action. Sorry about that, guys. That should say obviously Valor and Victory Falklands over there on YouTube. So I did apparently miss renaming the stream over there on Restream. But no worries. Hello, Dennis. How you doing? Very much. Thanks very much for the sound check, sir. We appreciate it. 2.9 earthquake in Kansas. Oh man, I had a 2.9 earthquake here last week. I fell down the stairs, and people like halfway across the county felt it. But other than that, we're okay. Between earthquakes and hurricanes, we will be fine. Let me see how our webcam is doing. Yay! Oops, let's get rid of this. We don't need all that mess. Cool. We have our new Sitrep podcast dice tray ready to go. A little informal, but hey, it works. Hopefully that fan doesn't sound too bad. Do you guys hear the fan really bad? Hopefully not. But at least at the moment, it can't really be helped. What I should probably do is come up with some music or something to kind of lay over that so you don't hear it so much. Unfortunately, it can't really be helped right now. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and get this thing going here. All right. So, like I said, we're doing Valor and Victory in 1982 Falklands. We've all seen Valor and Victory 100 times. It is free to print and play at valor-and-victory.com. It's the World War II version, originally designed by Barry Doyle. He's a hero of gaming, if you ask me. People don't ask me, but I still say it every week. He pretty much built this game because he liked old Advanced Squad Leader style games from the 1980s, but nobody plays them anymore because they're too damn complicated. And so he came up with he put the game system on a diet, and he came up with his own sort of slimmed down version, and he published it free to print and play for everybody. So again, there's the website if anyone wants to check it out. His scenarios, his maps, his armies, so on, his rules are written for World War II. And obviously what we've been doing here on Sitrep Podcast is rewriting that and expanding it to include more modern conflicts. We've done World War I. That was actually really easy. The tough part was going forward into Vietnam, 1982 Lebanon, and 1982 Falklands, with possible new expansions coming out in the very near future. Unconfirmed results there, or unconfirmed reports there. Okay, so Valor and Victory is a squad-based infantry game. So every unit on the game board is either a squad or a fire team. You put an average size army on the table. I say army. Your average size force on the table. You usually have maybe a company, reinforced company. If you get really ambitious, you can maybe squeeze a battalion on the board, but that's a really big, really big Valor and Victory game. This is definitely a smaller game than games like Panzer Leader. This is more of a it's a smaller game, again, like one click down on the whole echelon command structure. But we've been using it for asymmetrical infantry style games in the modern era, and we've been having some pretty good success with it so far. So, let's see here. If people may or may not be familiar, 1982 saw a pretty unusual war between Great Britain and Argentina over the Falkland Islands in 1982. So, super fast, these are islands that the British have claimed since the early 1800s. I won't get into all the geopolitics and diplomacy and who really owns the islands or who has the right to them or whatever. Needless to say, these are right by Argentina, but Great Britain has always claimed them. They've always had people here, who identify as British, so it's been pretty much accepted that they're British. Accepted by anybody except the Argentinians, however, who made a move to take the islands in the beginning of April 1982. We did have a 4-part series in the Ops Center over on Sitrep Podcast that goes into the Falklands War in some detail. But the Argentinians landed on the islands, they took them over, and they pretty much dared the British to do something about it because of, again, 76 different reasons that I won't get into now. People assumed that the British weren't going to do anything about it. The British said, oh, hell no, you didn't. We're coming down there and we're taking back our islands. So, there's West Falkland and East Falkland are the two main islands in the Falkland Islands. The only real town these are extremely remote islands, by the way, This is one step short of the thing down in Antarctica. In fact, these islands are about 1,400 miles north of the Antarctic Circle. These islands are down in the ass end of nowhere. I bring that up because the only town of any sizable note is Port Stanley over here in the extreme east. Port Stanley is a town of about 3,000 people. It's tiny. I mean, we have apartment complexes here in South Florida bigger than Port Stanley, and it's the Manhattan metropolis of the Falkland Islands. It's more or less the front door of the Falklands. It's where the Argentinians came in when they invaded in April. So when the British were coming back down in May and June of 1982, the assumption by the Argentinians was that the British would likewise try to come in through the front door, so to speak, invading in from the east. The British said, no, we're not doing that. We're going to come in from the west, and that's where we see that big arrow towards San Carlos. That's where the British land invasion of the Falklands Island really gets started. You guys can pretty much ignore West Falkland as far as the Falklands War goes. Very few Argentinians deployed out there, no real towns out there. Pretty much none of the fighting took place out in West Falkland. The one exception might be the SBS commando raid out here at Pebble Island. They blew up an airfield there with some Argentinian Pumpcara aircraft over there on a little dirt airfield. Other than that, though, 99% of the fighting takes place right in this stretch between San Carlos down here to what they called Goose Green, and then extending east over here to Port Stanley. So pretty much in this triangle is where the Falklands War really takes place. So the British land Paras and some Marines over here in San Carlos. Okay, that was the first part of the plan. They then moved south. They took this little area down here on this little area of land that connects these two parts of East Falkland. This is the famous Battle of Goose Green. We won't be doing that one today, but that's definitely another candidate for potential Valor and Victory games. It's probably the most famous, or maybe I should say infamous, land battle of the Falklands War. There's a lot of controversy there as far as whether or not the British were brave or just dumb, or a weird combination of both. It's one of those battles.
Yeah, it's a very
it's one of those battles.
weird one.
Yeah, it's one of those battles where the officers kind of failed, and the people on the ground really had to pick up and carry the ball in. It's a very Omaha Beach kind of a thing. Go ahead.
That's the one where the lieutenant colonel charged a machine gun nest and was killed, wasn't it?
H.C. Jones. I may be getting his name slightly wrong there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Very weird.
And after the battle, people were like, well, should we... well, he was killed, so, we can't demote him. They wound up, I think, giving him a Victoria Cross instead. But that's one of those things where it's a good thing he died, because if he didn't, he may have been, broken out of the service. Because, it's a very bad attack. Now, I'm not trying to beat up on the British here. Part of the reason why that attack went very badly is because it took place in daylight. The attack started in darkness, like you have to here in the Falklands, and we'll get into why in just a second. But it took way too long, and the battle was still in progress when the sun came up the next morning. And the British 2nd Battalion Para Regiment is kind of strung out in this open field when the sun comes up, and that's when they really started taking some pretty heavy losses. In a desperate move, Jones tried to outflank some of the Argentinian positions. That's when he wound up taking the wound that would cost his life. The British did eventually win this battle, but it's usually offered up as an example of how not to do things. Which is one of the reasons I didn't really want to tackle it here, because, this is a brand new expansion. We've never done Falklands Live before. Here on Twitch, here on Sitrep. I play tested a few games for our Op Center series, like I mentioned earlier. But again, when you're trying a brand new expansion or whatever for a game, or a brand new game system, stick with the vanilla stuff first. Stick with the battles that went kind of right, on both sides, so that, and then afterwards, then you throw in all the weird stuff, like, troops get lost, troops get, pinned down, turned around, delayed, who knows what. So, the British wound up finally taking this area. So this cuts off all of Lafonia here to the south, and it pretty much secures what was 3rd Commando Brigade, that's this big force here, It pretty much protects their right wing. As what's supposed to happen, they're supposed to load up on a bunch of helicopters, chopper across the island, land here, take this high ground, set up artillery positions overlooking Stanley, and that's going to be the war. Here's the problem. 2 Exocet cruise missiles hit the ship SS Atlantic Conveyor and sink it. About, I can't remember how far, several hundred miles off to the northeast. And what the Atlantic Conveyor was mostly carrying were all the helicopters for 3rd Commando Brigade. So now they have to cross East Falkland the old-fashioned way. Quick note, the little dots on this map, the little grid, is 1 mile scale. So you're talking about 50 to 60 miles, 55 miles or so across. Very, very open, very rugged, no roads, no towns, kind of terrain, no cover at all. They have to walk across East Falkland Island to do their attack. So what was supposed to be a 5-minute helicopter ride turns into a 4 or 5 day march. They push all the way down the spine of mountains here. They get over here to the east part of the Falkland Islands. And that's when we start to see further British landings on the south part of East Falkland Island. This is where you get a HMS, or actually it's not HMS. It's RFA Galahad, Sir Galahad, the RFA ships, the round table ships. Again, landings made in daylight. Not a good idea. HMS Galahad, again, not HMS, sorry. The British ship Galahad winds up taking bombs from A4 Skyhawks. Probably, in fact, not probably, definitely, the worst single loss of British life in the Falklands War. Pretty much blows the Welsh Guards out of the war entirely before they even get out of the boat. The ship is lost, and a lot of people really don't do very well when that ship is hit. In the Falklands, and this is why I was bringing up its location before, it is just short of Antarctica. It is colder than hell down here. There is no vegetation on these islands. There is no cover. You see rocks, you see hills, and not even really any buildings because no one really lives down here. There's nothing down here as far as cover goes. Anything you do militarily on the Falklands, you have to do it at night. And if you don't, you get things like Goose Green and the Galahad. You get major, major disasters because there's no cover. The Argentinians see you coming from 6 miles away. They open fire at 3 miles, and you're taking casualties at 2 miles, and you still have 2 miles to go. It's not a good idea. This is all brought up at length, again, because we're going to be doing some night battles today. We're going to be experimenting with some night combat. So this is a little bit of a zoom in for later on in the conflict. This is, again, when 3rd Commando Brigade, this is commanded by Julian Thompson, makes it to his first line of objectives. Mount Longdon, 2 peaked hill called the Two Sisters, and Mount Harriet. And these get attacked by 42 and 45 Royal Marine Commando and 3rd Para. These are the guys that did not get into action at Goose Green, so this is their first chance to really try something out here at Mount Longdon. They're going to be up against a company of the 7th Regiment of Infantry of the Argentinians. So from an Osprey book I have on the subject, this is a super zoom-in of the Battle of Mount Longdon. Specifically, we're going to be looking at Bravo Company. I mean, I don't know if the British used the term Bravo, but B Company of 3rd Commando, 3rd Para, sorry about that. And they're pretty much going to be attacking along the southwest slope of Mount Longdon. We're not going to be doing the whole attack on Mount Longdon. You pretty much could if you really wanted to make a big Valor and Victory game, but again, we're just trying to test this out for the first time on Twitch, so we're keeping it kind of modest. Hex in Valor and Victory is usually about 20 meters. That's kind of a rough estimate. I mean, some people like to imagine different numbers. It doesn't really matter. But that blue rectangle is the approximate size of our game board today. Obviously, Valor and Victory, our total force is going to be about 60 to 80 men per side. Our battlefield is going to be 300 by 200 meters or so. It's not that big of a battlefield. Infantry combat, especially at night, is very, very small. Very short-ranged. So that finally brings us to our map for today's game. now that I am at the wrong zoom level. Okay, so people who may have been checking us out recently and checking out our Vietnam Valor and Victory games, we've gotten used to a lot of jungle. I'm looking here at the map. Is our stream stalled, guys? Or am I just looking at a really old image here? Let me refresh that and see what pops up. Okay, there we are. Sorry about that, guys.
That is a very, very open map. Wow.
Yeah. Again, if you look at any maps, I'm sorry, not maps, you look at any photos of the Falklands, you're going to see some very long fields of fire. All the combat has to take place at night. The only time battles took place during the day were disasters, pretty much for the British, and that was mostly by accident. That was bad communication, things got delayed, and something that was supposed to take place in the middle of the night wound up taking place at like 6 in the morning. And that's when the British literally took well over half their casualties in the, or at least their ground casualties during the Falklands War. Is when the sun came up. It's not a good thing when the sun comes up. So we're going to be experimenting with some night fighting rules here. So we're looking obviously at a small section of the southwestern slope of Mount Longdon. This is the low part of the map. Okay, and then as we go up these sort of staircases here, like wiggly staircases, we're looking at higher and higher levels. Again, this is just a small pizza slice, so to speak, of a much larger terrain feature. There isn't a single leaf of vegetation on this map, except for some tall grass. There's nothing. What we do see, however, are this folded quartzite. Anywhere you look in the Falklands, you see these folded outcroppings of this old quartzite rock. These are going to block lines of sight, and they're going to count as light buildings. They block line of sight, and you have to be you're hidden while you're inside them, and you get +2 to your defense. Really, the only way to take those is usually by assault. So the British are going to start off in this western half of the table here. Again, they're attacking out of the southwest. There are 5 objectives on the map, and they have to take at least 3 of them. Unlike some of our previous Valor and Victory Vietnam games, or even PLO games versus the IDF in Lebanon, 1982, this game is going to be oddly unasymmetric. It's going to be oddly symmetrical, because we are looking at 2 regular armies. The Argentinians weren't as good an army as the British, especially these particular British units: Paris, Royal Marine Commando, Scots Guards, Welsh Guards, the Gurkhas even got involved, units like that. But they are regular troops. So we're going to be putting down casualty markers for both sides. No one's going to have any massed units. We're going to have enough time trying to find each other in the dark. So this game is going to be like oddly symmetrical. It's pretty much an open field with, again, the only thing, these rocky outcroppings. There's a little bit of a goat trail down here with this little, Farmer John and his sheep or whatever, and then here's where he goes fishing when he has to get away from his wife. I mean, I don't know. There are these tiny little shacks that you see here and there dotted across the Falklands, but pretty much it's almost primeval. It's open field. You're right on the front doorstep of Antarctica. It's, and it's also it's in May and June, which I'm sure Elazar can tell us is the beginning of winter down in the southern hemisphere. Is that correct?
Yeah, beginning of winter, and the beginning's always the coldest part. That's when the rain is. So it's...
Yeah, the British were kind of up against it here. So the idea was for the Argentinians to attack this place a little bit later. There were some things happening in South Georgia I won't get into, but the idea was to attack pretty much at the very beginning of winter, or at the maybe even in winter, to make a British response even less likely. So when they had to attack a little early at the very beginning of April, that's Operation Rosario, you're looking at the British have to make a decision very, very rapidly. They have to scrape together this force to attack very fast. The naval battle starts in like the beginning of May, and the original plan was to not really start trying to land troops until they had complete naval and air supremacy over and around the Falklands, but they ran out of time. They did win the naval battle pretty quickly, but the air battle was definitely not the case. The Argentinians fought hard in the air all the way through the conflict. The British plan was originally to wait until complete air superiority. They ran out of time. They could not do that because, again, that winter is coming in. And it's either land now or go home. And they obviously, chose the former. The bad news is that, they had to land under Argentinian air attack, which, again, HMS Galahad. You have a lot of problems there, among other ships. Two Type 21 type frigates, I believe. Two of the Type 42 destroyers, Atlantic Conveyor, Galahad. I think it's like 6 ships in all, plus ground targets. Got the crap bombed out of them all the time. Again, one more reason you have to do all this stuff at night. So, let me go back to construction here super fast. So down here we have our units. We're looking at the British. Their officers named after British historians. So we have Fletcher, Chandler, Holmes, and of course John Keegan is our commander. We have
Fletcher.
Fletcher. We have a tank muppet, as Jen calls him. We have our medics. The usual drill. FN armed commandos. They are E for elite, so they do have a 7 morale, and they do have all the benefits that come with that, along with some support weapons, including a Carl Gustav, just because why not, right? Look at those numbers. It is a heavy weapon, so it will slow people down if they're carrying that. That's like a super bazooka. The Argentinians, while they're not as bad as the usual NVA / Viet Cong / PLO that we play with here in our modern Valor and Victory games, they do have poorer values, but they do count as regular units. So we do put down casualties for them. They do make the normal morale checks. They do have a similar complement, maybe not quite as good, of support weapons. The grenades, the whole normal deal. Neither side has to roll for booby traps. This is a symmetrical game, more or less. It's not quite symmetrical. Obviously, the Argentinians are on defense. We start off owning all the objective hexes. You have to come take them away from us. However, we're not elite. We're armed with the same FN rifles, but you'll see that our attack values are 8, your attack values are 10. Again, the British paras are just obviously much better trained. The British also have 5 off-board mortar missions. Now, these are going to be really important, even more important than usual. So 5 off-board mortar missions, which you can call in, to do the normal thing. I'm assuming my friend Dylan here is playing the British, but by no means does he have to. But we do have 5 mortar missions here for the British that can fire in the normal HE stuff that we normally use, or... Oh my god. What the hell, man? Here it is. It's on the wrong tab. Give me a second. Flares. You can use mortars to drop flares. Flares will illuminate a hex and all the hexes around it, and once a hex is illuminated, it can be engaged free and clear of our night fighting rules. Pretty much, you can see it because it's under illumination. Flares are pretty much going to work like smoke screens in Valor and Victory, but in reverse. So whereas, in Valor and Victory, the normal rule is everything is open because it's daylight, you can drop a smoke screen, and a smoke screen is going to obscure a hex, and the hexes around it potentially, for up to 2 turns. A flare completely flips that whole dynamic on its head. Everything starts off in darkness, and you can drop in a flare, and a flare will illuminate the hex it lands on, plus all surrounding hexes. And it lasts for 2 turns. And of course, only the British have those. They do have some mortars back there in battalion. So, super fast, our nighttime fighting rules. Okay, we have rules for night fighting. I wrote these about 20 minutes ago, so bear with me. So our night fight, actually 20 minutes ago we were already streaming. Okay, I wrote these 40 minutes ago. So night fighting, we have, obviously for battles at night, assuming nobody has starlight scopes, night vision goggles, things like that. Okay, which is the case here. There were some night vision sniper scopes the British were using, but these were very, very early. and I think there were like 2 of them in the whole war. So basically, no. But if you look it up in Wikipedia, you will find references to it. So, rivet counters, relax.
You can say that about anything.
Yeah. So anyway, here we are. A unit basically has 3 states. You're either in darkness, you're spotted, or you're illuminated. In darkness is a natural state because it's nighttime. You're in darkness. Units cannot be fired at all, to include opportunity, direct fire, or support missions. You basically cannot see you if you're in darkness at any range, except for adjacent. We'll get to that in a second. That includes opportunity fire. These 2 words describe 95% of the Falklands ground war. You cannot take opportunity fire when units are moving in darkness, i.e., British troops can move around the terrain and actually come close to Argentinian positions. Spotted. A unit becomes spotted if they fire with muzzle flash or with noise. Units that are spotted can be gauged at 3 hexes or less, with a +1 cover bonus on top of any other cover bonuses that might be in play. That's if you fired that turn or in the previous fire phase. Illuminated, again, you are illuminated by one of 2 ways. Number 1, there's a flare over you or adjacent to you, or an enemy unit is adjacent to you. And pretty much then, guess what? I can see you. Units that are illuminated can be engaged at any range. So you can be 20 hexes away. I mean, the board isn't really 20 hexes, but you can be engaged from 50. You can have a flare land on you. And then even if your weapons won't reach at 15 hexes away, clear across the table, you can see them. You can call in a fire mission like regular HE mortars on them or something like that. So yeah, it gives pretty much that hex and all the hexes around it are considered daylight for the duration of that flare burning, which again is 2 turns. Again, if you're adjacent, then you can attack again with no penalties. Flares illuminate the hex, and any adjacent hex can be deployed like by onboard mortars or mortar support sections, just like smoke. They last 2 turns, just like smoke, the usual. And that's pretty much it. Again, I assumed I was playing the Argentinians, so I already have the Argentinians set up in defense. Again, this is B Company, 7th Infantry. We're going to do our best here to try and slow the British down. The usual 6 turns for a Valor and Victory game. And let's see what's going on over on YouTube. Cool. Alright, guys. Again, there's no mass movement or anything like that. So pretty much, again, you come in fact, let me go ahead and set this up here. Oops. I'm being super picky here, which I shouldn't be because we're in the middle of a stream. But there we go. So we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The left half of the board on the southern edge is the British can enter from anywhere in those first 10 hexes.
Yep.
So if you're coming on, I'll go ahead. I'll do now what I always forget, which is to start the turn with an actual slide. I like to keep the slides separate because then when I'm doing the battle report later on, it makes things easy.
Yep, you can just go back and...
Yeah. But I always wind up playing on my setup slide, and I wind up screwing up my setup slide. Okay, there we go. I'll zoom in on your units a little bit better so you can see what you have to work with.
Yep. Okay.
Long story short, take a shot. 3 under strength platoons. What was it we got? 1, 2, 2.5 squads. Yeah, like 3 sections and a small command group. It's basically a slightly under strength company.
Yeah, it's a lot of guys.
Well, a lot of them are also half squads.
Oh, it's true, yeah. Okay, I think I'll start with Fletcher.
All right. We got him ready to go, and you want me to put all the officers on top. Okay. Is he taking? He can't squeeze everybody in there because.
So the good stuff. He'll take the full squad and one half squad.
Full squad, one half squad. Any support?
No,
Okay.
just those.
Oops. Okay. And where are they? Well, actually, we'll just go ahead and move them. They'll start off with the movement. Again, everything's in darkness, so nobody can see you right now.
Yep.
I have no idea if these darkness rules are going to bite me in the ass, but we'll see what happens. Again, all these rocks block line of sight anyway. These gray rocks, I mean. These little, like, brown rocks, these are just on there for decoration, but these big gray features are actual game features.
Yep. Because science teacher says once you start playing, remember to get rid of the frame.
Oh, thank you. That's another thing I always forget. Thanks very much, because science teacher. We are now going to begin playing. Thanks very much for the heads up. I appreciate it.
Okay. I will move my first commando thing into I-12, I-11.
Alright, I-12 costs him 2 because it's basically woods. It's basically stone woods. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got a movement rate of 6 because he has an officer with him, but he doesn't have to move 6, obviously.
I'll leave them there in that little tiny bit of cover.
Alright, next group.
Next group will be the... I'll do the captain with the squad there. What should I give him with? Yeah, so the captain, the half squad, and the medic.
Okay, and where are they going to?
They'll go E12, E11.
Okay, next group.
Okay, next group is the... Oh, is it? Okay, I'm going to have to split these up. So...
Sorry, let me zoom in a little bit. Come on, get
Thank
down
you.
there so that everybody can see. Alright, there we go.
Okay, so I'll take Chandler with the full squad and half squad. And the GPMG.
The L7A2, which is basically the British way of saying FN Mag.
Yep.
The Americans call it the M240. It's got a million different names. It's a very ubiquitous general purpose machine gun. Alright.
Okay, so they'll come on in J12.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I12.
I-12, that's 1, 2.
Okay, J11.
3.
K11. It should be 4, 5.
4, 5, he's now in the stream.
And then L10.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I am brainlessly obsessive about the neatness of my stacks. That's how you tell a true Hex Encounter gamer. Okay, next group.
The next officer with a full squad and a half squad. With also with the GPMG.
Okay.
They're going to go to B10.
bunch of squaddies.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be careful with these guys.
Yeah, their movement's going to be 4 because they don't have an officer with them.
Yep. So it'll be. I'll do 3 and 3. So 3 half squads and the medic, and then 3 half squads and the Gustav.
Okay. So here's 2 half squads and the medic. 3 half squads, you said. I'm sorry.
Yep.
My bad. I know how to count. I know numbers. Yeah, we're not 100% done with Vietnam, guys. We do have one more part of the Ops Center coming out later on this week. It is done. It is in the can. I did submit it to Sitrep 6, as I call her now, Gianna, our boss, so to speak. But I do not know exactly when it's coming out. I think it's scheduled for Friday for Patreon. It might be Saturday for YouTube and on Tabletop. I just thought maybe people were getting a little tired of Vietnam here in our stream, so I decided to try Valor and Victory. Falklands.
So they'll move to C11.
Charlie 11. Whoa, they all got big. All right, we got a last group here. Three more half squads, one of them carrying a Carl Gustav. Their movement rate's going to be 3 because they're a half squad carrying a heavy class weapon. It does slow you down one hex.
So they'll go G12, H11, H10.
Cool. And they're out of breath. That's the limit of their movement.
Yep.
Everyone else is kind of sauntering along. They're like humping that Gustav. I've never picked one up. I have carried AT4s in my day. Those were not exactly light, and I've never carried a javelin. They came out way after my time. I've heard those javelins weigh a friggin' ton.
I've spoken to guys who've carried Milans, and apparently they're pretty bad. So
yeah, Milans are almost like man portable tows. Those are huge. Yeah, this isn't quite on that level, but it's pretty big. Those Gustavs. Okay, so that is the end of the movement phase. Opportunity fire phase. Again, everything's still cloaked in darkness, and even if it wasn't, things are pretty much screened by... Ooh, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. Things are screened by the contours of the terrain. So then we go to Argentinian defensive fire phase. Argentinian defensive fire phase. Mortar section. Back here, we do have one battery of, or not one literally onboard mortar. I do have line of sight on the hex. Here, dropping a flare right there.
Oh.
Argentinian flare has been dropped. Snap, crackle, pop.
It's better scatter.
All right. Yeah, I can't see you yet because again, it only illuminates its hex and the hexes around it. But
Yep.
I'm going to see what you're
It's
going to
going to
do
stop me doing what I want it to do. So.
with your assault movement. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Come into my light. Step into the light. That's it for defensive fire phase.
Cool. Because science teacher, Gustav, isn't that the name of a Dark Star ship class?
The Gustav is a Gustav. I don't think so. No.
Gustav was a very, very important Swedish king in a very, very important time for Sweden. So he's got a lot of stuff named after him.
He might be thinking, or she might be thinking, don't you have a ship named the Swedish King or the Swedish Knight? That's what it was.
Yeah, that's named after a British officer. Yeah, but it's similar.
That might have been what she was thinking of. Gustav. There are no Gustavs. There are some German railroad guns named Gustav in World War II. There might be a It's way off topic here, but there might be a Leopold class heavy cruiser named some Gustav or another. They're all named for old German kings. So if there's a German king named Gustav somewhere back in God knows when, there might be one. But that's the closest I can think of. That and the Swedish Knight are probably the best things for that. Okay, so that is it for my defensive fire phase. We now go to your assault and movement phase.
Well, that got a lot trickier.
Advance and assault phase.
That got so much trickier after you dropped that flare. I'll go.
Tracer
H10
starts sipping through the darkness. Okay, I'm sorry. No more kindergarten sound effects. Which group first? I'm sorry.
Sorry, the one with the Gustav H10 to G10. Well, they come for the Valor and the Victory, and they stay for the sound effects.
Oh, God. I hope not. My voice is bad enough just speaking. They're on our belly. Crawl forward.
That's not good.
No worries at all, because science teaches that's the whole point of the stream is to have discussion with people.
Oh, believe me, I can get sidetracked on anything, so don't apologize.
I've actually run a quick statistical analysis. You might be interested in my results. I have determined that your another gaming historian YouTube videos are approximately 72.1% sidetracks and tangents. So I don't know if you want to get that metric down a little bit, but we'll circle back next quarter and see if we can get that metric down a little bit.
Oh, what do I do now? Because I was really hoping to rush that left. So I'm going to have to go I11 to J10. Mr. Fletcher there. And L10 to L9. And that'll be my move.
Okay, now we go to the counter design phase. Doesn't get more live than this, folks. Okay, so beginning of the Argentinian command phase. Everything automatically rallies. All smokes and flares reduced by 1. Okay, that's it for Argentinian command phase. Unless I want to divide anybody, which I think I might. I'll take that full squad and divide it in 2.
Yep.
Where else are some of my half squads? Dude, why do I only get 1? I want 2. My Argentinians are deserting already. Guys, we haven't even really started the battle yet. I know how the history went, but come on. Give it a chance. Those are 2 half squads under there. Here's one. So, get rid of the full squad. Goodbye. And replace with 2 half squads, please. There. Okay, cool. I will not obsess about the... There's one more.
Cleanliness of the stack.
Yeah, the hell with it. I'm being foolish with that. Is that stack still legal? Yes, I have 2 half squads, a medic, and an officer in there. That stack is still 4 infantry units. He still technically counts as legal. And that will be it for my command phase. Direct fire phase. guys are not illuminated, and none of your guys have fired yet. I still have no targets. We then go to my movement phase. Anybody on my side can move except for the mortar team that fired off that second flare. Roll for booby traps. Oh God, I'm still having nightmares about my booby trap phase at the end of our Marine game.
Oh wow, yeah, that was a.
Have you seen that YouTube video by chance? Let's
No,
just
I
say,
don't think I
okay,
have. No.
just for fun, let's just say that when I was editing that video, I had to put some pretty big beeps in that soundtrack. I started hitting booby traps. I was like, holy crap! I need to cool it on these. I need to cool it on these Twitch streams, cursing and swearing. But I tell you what, man, those booby traps had me at the next level. Let's just put it that way. All right, that's going to be it for my movement phase. Your direct fire phase, I don't think you have any targets. I should say your defensive fire phase, you don't have any targets, or your opportunity fire phase, same general thing, just different bonuses and penalties. Okay, we then go to my assault and movement phase. I think I'm pretty much cool where I am. Let me belly crawl through these rocks a little bit. Argentinians love these rocks. This isn't like stone, like scattered around on the ground. This is like living rock coming right up out of the earth.
Yep.
And there's no way a grenade launcher is digging people out of that. I mean, it's like these. I have one photograph I found. I used in the Op Center episodes for the Falklands. The rock is not only coming up out of the ground; it's like 2 stories tall, and it's even shaped in a rough circle. It's like a natural-made castle. It's just, come get us. Needless to say, this is where guys like 3rd Para, 42nd, 45th Commando, Scots Guards had a lot of problems. Especially, what was the name of the battle? The very last, pretty much the last one. Not Wireless Ridge, not Mount Harriet. I can't remember it right now. It might have been Tumbledown. Where they ran across a company of Argentinian Marines. So these guys are basically conscripts, hence they have no E for elite in their counters. They have pretty crappy values. But that was probably the one time when units of at least somewhat equal standing really went at each other. Argentinian Marines versus I think it was the Scots Guards in a pretty serious battle. I could have some of the details on that wrong. I'll have to look it up later. It's in the Op Center episode if anyone's interested. Op Center, that would be number 8. Ground operations. Okay, that's going to wrap up my turn. I have no casualties to evacuate. I have nothing to do. Boom, that's it. Over to you, sir, on turn 2. Your command phase, which is split squads, rally squads, and call and fire missions if you want.
Okay, I'm going to be doing pretty much all of that.
Damn it all to hell. Hold on. I'm having Excel senior moment here. Cool. I am caught up again with the Excel thing. Save the file so we don't lose it.
Cool. So yeah, I'll be splitting all my full squads.
Okay, we have one here. Just stop making full squads. It's like the first thing we always do. And these battles are so... It's a big thing in World War II and World War I, because you usually can't fit, the full number of guys you want without using full squads. But these modern battles, Vietnam, especially the Falklands, the battlefields are so big compared to the forces involved that put another way, the troop density is so low that it really becomes kind of pointless to make sure everyone's still legal. Everyone is still legal. It almost becomes kind of pointless to have full squads. I guess it can help in some assaults, but Then again, a lot of people have so much firepower that's like,
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about just combining everyone and charging that left-hand position, but casualties would have been way too high.
once in a while it is fun.
Mm.
Again, games where casualties don't really matter, like World War One. I had a German a stormtrooper attack against a French trench, and it was fun to put 4 squads of German Stoßtruppen in one stack without an officer and just send them into the machine guns and just watch the body parts fly. It was pretty scary. I tell you what, it was a hell of an assault. They did crack the trench. I think they actually did win that battle too, but that was also a battalion-sized game. 4 Valor victory maps and something like 200 counters
Ooh.
in just one massive. Not a whole lot of maneuver in that game though. Okay, we have split up all your squads. No one to rally. Then we go to your support missions if you want.
Yep. Yeah, I'll be doing some support missions.
Okay.
So I'll have 1 flare. Let's go to see what I can actually see. Can I see P6?
Papa 6 is... Yes, you have an officer that can see Papa 6. Namely, this guy. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, you are on the ground, and the obstruction is closer to the elevation than it is to the ground unit, so you can see. In other words, from your vantage, the slope is gentle enough you can see up there, and you can see Papa 6.
Okay, I'll drop a lum flare on Papa 6.
Thump. Splash. Oh, at the beginning of your command phase, I may be doing this wrong, but it's just the way that me and Alex do it on our physical tabletop games. Smoke
Yep.
always gets assessed during the command phase. I don't know if it's supposed to be your command phase or the enemy's command phase, but what happens there is you lose track of who dropped what smoke screen, and then you have to come up with counters: Argentinian smoke or British smoke. And it's like, oh, for God's sake! But we both have plenty of mortars, so I'm going to be just kind of doing it this way. So that number 1 disappears to 0. That number 2 disappears to 1. You just drop that number 2. That number 2 is there, and it's going to be there for the duration of your turn. And that was one of your fire missions.
Yep.
Okay. That hex and all the
won't
hexes
do
around it
anything
are now
else.
illuminated. We can now see it.
Cool.
Oh my God, they see us.
And that's the end of my command phase.
Okay, we go to your direct fire phase.
Okay, what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4.
It does take 2 to go up a slope.
Yep. Just looking, I have not got range on them, so I'm going to have to move.
All these units do have the asterisks. They can put down 3. You're talking about these half squads can put down 3
I forgot
firepower
about
and up
that.
to 7. Yeah, that's that asterisk on the range factor. Pretty much every squad. One of the big difference in World War II versus whatchamacallit is number 1, semi-automatic or fully automatic assault rifles. Obviously, in this case, SLR battle rifles or L1A1s, whatever you want to call it. Number 2, every one of these teams, even when you don't see a counter for it, every single one of these teams, in fact, has an L7A2 baked into it. But that would be an absurd number of counters, and it also would screw up the game, so it's baked into the math already. That's why these values are so absurdly high. So there is a 3-7. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see me. Sorry, guys. I'm being extra retarded today. There's a 3-7 baked into every one of these 5-5s. That's what the asterisk is for. That's what almost saved Sergeant Waterman last week.
Yes, yeah, it's very
2
close.
weeks ago, yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll open up with 3, 6, 9, 12 shots.
Yep.
On... which one of those two would be the best to shoot at?
I'm not sure if you have line of sight.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Because
there's
this
a
thing is
giant hill in front of
is
me.
right next to it. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, well, in that case, I'll just go straight on the movement phase.
Okay. Yeah, you're in good cover. You're like right up against like that little escarpment in these hills.
Yep.
The problem is LOS is usually a two-way street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and Fletcher is just
Yep.
out of range.
Yeah, totally forgot about that.
Did you want to
So in
take
that
back?
case, I'll have...
Did you want to take back that flare?
No, I'll leave the flare there.
Okay.
That's fine. In that case, I'll go L9, M9, N9, O9.
I'm gonna be a gentleman because you let me redo 3 movement phases of my Marine objective football game last time. So M9, then where?
They're going to end in O9, so NO.
1, 2. Oh,
Not to give myself too much credit, you could have screwed up that Marine football game and lost even worse. So
yeah,
that was...
That's true. The way I was hitting booby traps that game, that would have been my third
Yeah.
run, which would have been fun, except not really.
1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 1 point of movement left. But I won't use... I'll stay in those rocks there.
Okay.
That flare should hold you back.
Yeah, unless I decide to assault you, which I don't think I will.
I would not recommend it now.
I have to cross illuminated open terrain before I can attack. Oh, yeah, that would be the worst move ever. Yeah, I think you're pretty much safe there.
Okay, so I'll have J10.
Yep.
I'll have Fletcher.
Tank, Muppet. Where's it going?
You
I'd
go
like to
K10.
specify for the Sitrep does not condone the use of tank Muppet for Dr. Fletcher. That is Jen's name, not mine. But it's totally true, because he looks like a Muppet. Alright, where are we going?
K10, L9.
Alrighty. No penalty for crossing the stream because he's got a road there, or like a goat trail, ford, or whatever. That's 2.
M9.
3, 4. Get up that hill!
Ooh, okay. Now, do I go across the stream or do I go around? I'm going to go N8, N7.
Or if we're doing this in British, get that hill up, you mate, or I don't know, something like that. my atrocious British, terrible accent.
Well, I can't say it in Australian because you'll have to bleep it, but...
I'll say it in Marine Corps. Get the fuck up the goddamn... Okay, never mind. Alright, next movement. I guess we're doing Golf 10.
Yep, with the Gustav gun. Oh, with the Gustav, not the Gustav gun. They'll jump into F9.
Get in those rocks and get that Gustav deployed. Set it up on its little peg. Its little bipod. That thing's got a C armor piercing value. You run across any Argentinian tanks, you know what to do. I wouldn't hold your breath, though. I actually shouldn't say that. This exact battalion does run across the only Argentinian tanks. Well, let me rephrase that. The only Argentinian armor. Some of those ERC 90 armored cars or whatever. 2 days from now at Wireless Ridge, there was an Argentinian quote-unquote tank battle, and I use that term very loosely. Some like warrior APCs, or whatever the hell they used to call those things, slugging it out against those ECR or ERC, whatever the hell they are, 90s. They fought for like 10 seconds at Wireless Ridge on the very last night of the war. Because I said in the episode that there was no tank combat in the Falklands War, and I had to put a quick correction in the video. Like, oh, hold on, guys. Technically, that's not true. Armored vehicles did see and shoot at each other, if only for a heartbeat.
Okay. B10. Over on our left flank there.
Yep. That flare is fizzled out. We can do something. Oops.
Or do I want to do it? Yeah, screw it. I'm going to do it. They're going to go B9, B8.
1, 2, 3, 4, because he's going up a hill and into rocks.
Yep. Yeah, C8, C7.
Oh, we're going all the way. He who dares wins.
I got to do it.
Opportunity fire.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately, there's not a whole lot in there. Cortazar, Lieutenant Cortazar. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. I live in South Florida. I should speak Spanish by now, but I don't. With my little bundle of chili Argentinians. Not Chileans, chili Argentinians. Say that 10 times fast. What are we going to do? We are going to pop loose. Okay, once you enter Hex Charlie 7, you are now illuminated, quote unquote. You are also using Opportunity Fire in an open Hex. So I get -2. -1 for my officer makes -3. 10 at -3. Mr. Webcam. Oh man, look at that snazzy little dice box there.
Oh, I wonder where you can get those, Jim.
You can get them from your local HP printer. That's where I got mine.
Okay, you don't sell them?
It's literally a cardboard box with a little printout I slapped together.
Okay, I thought that was actually like a Sitrep Dazzle dice bag or something.
We should probably start doing that. I do have, you know what? I do have my new Sitrep t-shirt. I'm drinking tea out of my Sitrep mug. So we are properly branded. However, this little, I'll tell you what, I'll send you this this file if I can find it still. If not, I can recreate it. And we will get you set up. It's literally a sheet of paper that you put in a box.
Okay, I thought it was much more. I was giving you way too much credit.
Yeah, well, you know, you're not the first to give me too much credit. Okay, here is the 10. We are subtracting 3 from this die roll. We are turning on Mr. Webcam, and we're rolling snake eyes. That's why
We're looking for a sniper.
I'm calling it. Oof, a 9. That's not so good. That becomes a 7. That is 1 casualty point, man. You got away with that shit.
Oh.
Damn you. You got away with that. You should have dropped half a platoon on that move, but 1 casualty point.
Okay, that'll be a...
You're pinning a half squad?
Yeah, I'll pin a half squad.
Pin a half squad that's not carrying the extra... Whoops. That's not carrying the extra L7. I say L7, I'm thinking like I'm mostly a tank guy. L7 is like the British L7 105mm. I'm already going to give myself nightmares. No, there are no...
And they're running around with a chieftain gun.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it for that movement, and he's now taking his opportunity fire. I am sorry to say. Oh, Argentinians. Don't cry for me, Argentina. You can't roll dice to save your ass. Okay, further, looks like you got 2 more stacks left to move.
Yep. So C11, just the squaddies there. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
They're going to go D10, D9, D8.
D10, D9 costs them 2, D8 exhausts their movement. And then we got Company Commander Keegan.
All right, Lieutenant Keegan. Oh, Captain Keegan.
Yep.
We'll go E10.
1, 2, 3. Uphill into rocks.
All right. E9.
4.
I don't want to bunch up too much. Actually, he'll stay in E10.
Are you afraid of my Argentinian MLRS line that I have just off the table? I forgot to tell you about. What's that noise?
And half the Air Force.
Yeah, right. Not at night.
Not this game.
We're not terribly good at flying at night. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's my move.
That is your move. I can't believe... Oh, you know what? I should have thrown some grenades in there. Oh, well, no worries. Way too late for that. Okay, that is it for movement phase. Defensive fire phase. And now we're going to go to... We already did my opportunity fire phase. Defensive fire phase, that was it. we now go to your assault and move phase. Or I should say advance and assault phase.
Yep. Okay, so that flare is going to degrade. Ah, cool. So I'll go 09 to P8. Over on the right there.
Oscar 9. Oh, I'm on the other side of the map here. Okay. To Papa 8. Okay. There's like a little light line on the slope. Stay outside of the light.
N7 to 07.
Or not stay outside the light. Boink. Okay, we can now see each other.
Yep. That's all right because that light's going to go away very soon.
Well, that light's going to go to flare 1 at the beginning of my turn, and I'm going to see you for my upcoming fire phase.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yep.
No, take that back. Yeah. And then I'll move into N6 instead, sorry.
This one's going to disappear, though 2's going to reduce to a 1.
Yep, that's right. That's the entire reason I put it there. I don't know why.
I was going to say, that's your flare.
Yeah.
Drop the flare so that we can take machine gun fire going in. We got to do this right. We are British. All right. Moving over here to this side, we're looking at any.
Well, those flares really paralyze you, don't they?
No.
They paralyze me in that. I'm going to stay in those nice, comfy rocks.
Okay.
D8's going to go to D7.
All right, now he won't be able to assault because he's right now doing the assault phase, but he can do the move. Cool.
Yep, and then the big assault.
Cool. All right, here comes the assault. I have 10, super easy. I'm going to throw in 3 grenades. You have a lot more than 10. You have, not that much more. 10 plus 3 is 13, 15. And then you can throw in up to 1, 2, 3 grenades as well if you want.
I'll throw in 3 grenades.
All right, so we both throw in 3 grenades. And you have more grenades than I do as well. Gotta give the Paris some advantages. You got all the cool stuff. Alright. Lots of grenades flying around this little farmhouse. This little sheep farmer, his house is not going to be like he left it. He's going to come back and be like, what the hell happened to my shit? Alright, so 15 against 10. We'll call that 2 to 1 because you guys are elite. 2 to 1 is 8 or less on 2d6. Everything else washes out. We both have -1 commanders. We're both throwing in 3 grenades. So this is a pretty, forgive the pun, a pretty dicey assault.
Oh. A5.
A5, that's a successful assault. So all Argentinian units are wiped out. You own the hex. 1, 2, 3. I will replace with 3 Argentinian casualty markers that do not affect stacking.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're not the new wreck markers, are they? People like
the new wreck markers, yeah, right. And what else was I
going to do?
Okay. Oh, yep, he gets in the hex, except for the pin guy, who is pinned. He's still outside in the yard going, oh, man. Okay, now, there was 1, 2, 3 infantry units in there, and you had a +2 building, a light building. Again, Valor and Victory fans out there, I know buildings normally cost -3, but I usually use -2. Number 1, it breaks up the game, and number 2, I'm usually playing in light buildings. That -3 rule, I feel, was used in Stalingrad, was used in Normandy, big stone buildings, Normandy churches, things of that nature. So I usually use -2 for buildings. Otherwise, the game just becomes a complete meat grinder, which in places like Stalingrad and the hedgerows is appropriate. That's the reason I use different values for buildings. Now, that leaves me with, like I said, 1, 2, and then there were 3 Argentinian infantry units in there. That's 5 casualty points you got to pay for that assault.
That'll be 2 pinned and a dead half squad.
Alrighty, so a dead half squad. Pinned the guy that was carrying the L7, and the officer is now also pinned as well. Cool. And that is a British casualty. So we've never really played with symmetrical casualties before. Obviously, you want to try and save your guys. Again, this game's victory points are strictly for those objective hexes, so I'm not going to get super crazy with it. But if you can stabilize an Argentinian casualty, he counts as a prisoner.
Okay.
And that is this guy pinned down, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grenades toast. That building is probably also a little worse for wear. And
No windows anymore.
Oh god, 6 grenades. Plus, there's 15 Royal Powers, stomping around in there. They got mud all over their boots. So that's very, very discourteous. Plus, the Argentinians probably were smoking in the kitchen like mom says not to. Okay, so all that silliness aside, we're now in the after action phase. We can try to let's see. We're going to try to rally your guys, and we'll check for bleed out on those casualties.
Okay.
Because no one's getting evacuated this turn. Everybody in that hex is pinned. And, what was I going to say? No one's going to be able to try and stabilize any casualties, Argentinian or British. So which guy do you want to try to rally first?
We'll try and rally the lieutenant first.
Lieutenant rallies on a 7 or less because he's elite.
A 9.
He does not rally. Next, half squad underneath him with the GPMG. Again, 7 or less.
A 4.
He does rally. Bleeding officers never have their shit together. Alright, he's rallied.
I love the sort of Texas Yardie accent that you've got there, Jim.
Okay. A Texas Yardie? That's a terrible combination. Alright. We have this guy out here in the yard.
10.
Nope. Okay. Turning on Mr. Webcam. I'll check my 3 Argentinian conscripts. 2 of them have bled out.
Ooh. That's what happens when you throw 6 grenades into a tiny building.
Yeah. I don't even know if this really matters for this kind of game. Ironically, the quote-unquote simple symmetrical game, we don't have rules for because we're so used to the complicated asymmetrical ones. Okay, and now roll 1d6 for your casualty, since no one can evacuate him this turn.
A 3.
Cool. He is okay for now. Alright, I think that concludes the turn. Or that concludes the British part of the turn. Any questions so far? Let me check Mr. Twitch. Let me check Mr. YouTube. Alright, cool. Alrighty. We're now beginning Argentinian turn 2. Argentinian turn 2 begins with that flare goes down to 1. That flare goes away. Sizzles out. This flare goes down to 1. Argentinian command phase. These guys are illuminated. I have an officer with line of sight. I am going to call in a non-flare mortar mission from my onboard mortar at -2 onto that hex.
Yep.
So it's -2 for your rocks, +2 for my commander. Comes out in the wash. It's only 6 points. You never know. I get lucky. Turn on Mr. Webcam. Oh, that's the wrong. Wow, that got really screwed up. Turn 2. There we go. 6 points. No subtractions.
You have to scatter that mortar?
No, I do not have to scatter the mortar because it's an onboard mission. I have direct line of sight.
Oh, cool. I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
That's okay. Now, this actually brings up a very good point. You literally just asked, do I have to roll to scatter? You have to roll to scatter for, wait for it, for off-board fire missions. Those are support missions, not anti-firepower or anti-personnel firepower missions. That's basically direct gun battles. This counts as that. And whenever you roll a 12 on direct APFP missions, that's when you get a sniper. If that was an off-board mission, that would not generate a sniper. But because that's an
That's why I don't
on-board mission,
mind.
APFP, boom, that's the sniper. That's me playing by the rules. And now we get to bring on Mr. British Paris Sniper. I'm very unhappy about that. Here's the really bad news. Because of the unit that actually created it, he has to start off within line of sight of the unit that rolled 12. So he gets to start off way the hell back here somewhere. He has to start off undercover, and he has to start off within 6 hexes of the unit that did the shooting. So I don't think he has too many choices here. I think that sniper is really close to that mortar team.
I think he has one choice, and that's 1, 2, 3. I think he's got K3, Q1, or P2. P1, sorry. I think those are the 3.
No, K3 definitely has no line of sight because he has to shoot through this
the
ridge.
hills. I keep forgetting those. Pretty much K1 or P2 or P1.
K1.
Q1, sorry, Q1. Sorry.
Yeah. These are the 2 I was thinking of.
Okay, so I'll go P1.
He sniper his belly crawled through the rocks. He's like right up on. Okay, cool. Now roll a single D6. Subtract 0 because I have 0 cover in that hex. I'm completely in the open, and that's the total number of casualty points that are immediately assessed.
3.
3 minus 0 becomes 3. That is 2 casualty points from the team, and I'll put down 1 for my commander to pin him. That's my 3rd casualty point. That could have gone better. Because not only is it cool that to shoot up enemy artillery, but now what you've really done is blinded me. I was counting on dropping a couple flares every turn. Guess what? I'm not going to be doing now.
That is ridiculously lucky.
Yeah.
You know what? That makes up for you sinking my aircraft carrier. Last time we were in the
that's
Falklands.
true. That's true. Admiral Sandy Woodward, you look so comfortable in that lifeboat. I'm so glad I could do that for you. It makes no sense for the Ark Royal to be where she is, but you're there, and my stupid Argentinian gunboats sank your ass. Or Corvettes, I'm sorry. Oh my god. Okay, guys, this game is going to be a rout from here on out. Okay, that was going to be it for my direct fire.
Yep.
Because now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, technically I have line of sight here, but I don't want to give away my position. You're more than 3 hexes away. I don't give away my position. I will take that shot. That's a grand total of that law is too far away. Plus, I don't want to use it. That's a one-use weapon.
Yep.
4 and 4 is 8. Subtract 2 or add 2 to the die roll for your rocks. I take that back. It is 3 and 3 makes 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I'm beyond the range. Again, I have those FN mags in that.
Yep.
Out to 7. So it's going to be 6, and I have to add 2 to the die roll. That is 7 becomes a 9. That is no damage at an attack of 6.
Yep.
There was muzzle flashes there, but again, you have to be within 3 hexes to have you spotted. No one's within 3 hexes, so I'm okay for that.
Yeah, way too far away.
Not spotted because you haven't fired and you're outside of the flare. Okay, so that's going to be it for my fire. I now go to my movement phase.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to come in and grab the objective hex. I still have limited line of sight on it, but I got to get out of that flare if I possibly can.
Yep.
When you fire scraping, unlike Panzer Leader, when you're firing scraping past a terrain blocking feature, you take -1 instead of -2. Or sorry, if you're trying to shoot through it, then you don't get to shoot at all. But here, I've got this line of sight. Or if you're really lucky and you charge into the rocks, well, we'll see what happens. Any other movements? Oh man, I've already taken my hand off the piece. This sniper, oh no, he's got rocks in the way. Okay, whew. I'll say that sniper saw that. Snipers never shoot once they appear during their direct fire phase. Snipers only take opportunity fire. So you have to be very careful about where the enemy player for the rest of that turn. Also, snipers never move. They have to be very careful about the enemy's player has to be very careful about how he moves in that sniper's line of sight. Now, what the choice you have is during your command phase, you can what they call withdraw the sniper, and you basically just take it off the table. Because right now, if I roll another set of boxcars, you don't get a second sniper. Because the one sniper you have is already on the table. But if you withdraw him and I roll boxcars again, you get to put him down again someplace else. Sniper is just all over the place. Because I don't know how much else he's going to see.
Nothing, pretty much. Yeah.
Unless I just start retreating. But okay. Other movement. I think I'm good for now. Okay, we now go to your defensive fire.
Okay. I do not have any. Oh, hang on. No, I think I do.
You have one line of sight that I see. Two lines of sight that I see.
With that house down there.
Yeah, the house is in a bit of a crossfire.
Oh, yeah. Okay, in that case, I'll have the P8 shoot into that house.
Okay, that is 7, 12, 17, 20. Shooting through the flare. No penalties for that. Into the... in fact, if anything, that's a perfect place to have a flare. If you want to get super technical about it. Where the light source would be. But it doesn't matter. So, now I lost track of the stupid number. 15, 18, 20 points total. Plus 2 for my building, minus 1 for your officer becomes 20 at minus 1. 2d6. You're on. Ooh, you're on the blue column. Damn, Royal Paris. Look at this. Another one of those 556mm airstrikes. Or actually 7.62. These are Paris who are carrying the FNs. L1A1s.
On the fishing hut.
Roll high.
Oh. A 10.
10 becomes a 9, 1 casualty point. Ping.
No, it'll become an 11, won't it?
No, it's mine. Oh, that's right. I reversed the bonuses. Minus 1 plus 2. Sorry, your 10 becomes an 11. No effect. Thank you. I got my pluses and minuses mixed up.
And Fletcher won't be able to see that house, will he?
Fletcher can see the house because the demarc again, that dot in the center of Oscar 6 is on his level. So what that means is that the demarcation line is technically here. I just don't like my maps looking like honeycombs. You know, if you draw the lines exactly along the hex lines. So you use the dot. That line is closer to the elevated hex than the ground hex. That means that the slope is general enough for you to see up the slope and hit the hex.
Okay, I'll have a go with Fletcher.
All right, Fletcher has 17, same penalty, minus 1. He drops 1 column, add 1 to that die roll.
Oh, that's better, a 7. So it goes up to an 8.
To an 8, that is 1 casualty. 1 casualty point. I will pin 1 half squad in there.
That's not great.
What the hell do they call them? They like Chicos or Chacos or something? Basically, the name for the Argentinian conscripts. It was basically like, boy, kids. Even though most of them were in their 50s. A lot of them were recalled reservists. There was an ongoing civil war in Argentina, so they couldn't quite send everything they really wanted to.
It's probably Chicos. Chocos is what Australians call their reservists.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Chocolate soldiers, they melt in the sun. Or koalas because you're not allowed to shoot them.
Oh my god.
Probably Chico.
Alrighty. That is these two units fired. Defensive fire. Any other defensive fire?
I don't think I have any, so straight on to the next turn.
Okay, defensive fire is now complete. We now go to your assault in. No, my assault in move phase.
Yours.
Alright.
Yep.
We ducked out of there just long enough to get out of the flare. How cheesy was that? Alright, and that's going to be it for my assault. And actually, you know what else is going to happen? Just because we fired and somebody might have seen us, we're just going to go ahead and fall back 1x. Ooh! I just realized, I missed anyway, but I just realized I should have taken an additional 1 off for shooting past H5 when I took that long-range machine gun shot. I already missed, but I should have added an additional +1 penalty to that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, H5 is a partial obstruction. Technically a hindrance, if you go by the rules, the vocabulary of the rule book. There's obstructions and there's hindrances. Okay, so that's going to be it for my assault movement phase. After action phase, somebody needs to save my damn troop in there, he's dying. You know what, I rolled my bleed out during your phase, which I shouldn't have done. So we'll say that I rolled it now, and that's when my 2 guys passed away, and this guy made it. Otherwise, he's rolling twice a turn. They're going to die twice as fast. What I will try and do now is rally some of my... try to rally this one fire team of reservists over here in Papa 3. Sorry, that's Papa 5.
Yep.
6 or less because he has no officer in there, and he's, not elite. 4, he's rallying. Damn you! These are our islands. Now I'm going to try to rally my sorry-ass company commander up here. No penalty. He does not get to apply his -2 to himself because he's pinned down. So, oh man, he's in a fetal position, shitting his pants right now. Typical Argentinian officer. Alrighty. That's going to be it for my after action phase. I have no casualties I can try to evacuate. We now go to the beginning of your turn 3. These games go a little faster now that, the rules are more. Damon and I finished up a 300 points a game of battle of Dark Star yesterday in about 2.5 hours.
Oh, nice.
Well, again, we all know the rules now. It took like an extra hour to rebuild his fleet. His fleet got wiped out. So we had to rebuild his fleet first. That took about an hour. That's mostly paperwork. But then once we started rolling dice, it was pretty easy. Okay.
It's never good when you have to do that.
So Flare 1 and Flare 2 are both now dissipated.
Yep.
I dropped no new flares because I was trying to get cool with my HE shells. And now I'm not going to be dropping shit for flares. So that's it. We're all back in darkness. All British units automatically rally. This is the beginning of your command phase, as opposed to the end of your after action phase. Okay, and unless you're calling in more support missions or anything like that.
I'm going to call in some more flares.
Okay.
P6.
Oh no. That's a brand new flare. That is worth 2 points of magnesium. Snap, crackle, pop.
And
this is your
just P6.
Second or third? This is your second flare, right?
Second flare.
Okay. Yeah, it would have to be because you couldn't call it in on turn 1. Cool.
Okay. I'll recall the sniper.
Sniper is withdrawn.
Yeah, he's just making fun of that Argentinian officer now, and he needs to be doing more useful things. Just teasing him.
Do you have any cigarettes? Oh, God. My socks are all worn out. I just walked across this whole island. Do you have any clean socks? I know you have no clean underpants, but do you have any clean socks I can use? Alrighty. Anything else for your command phase? I don't think so. Unless you're combining squads.
No, I think that's everything.
Okay. We go then to your direct fire phase.
Okay, let's have another go. Papa 8 onto Papa 5.
Here we go with after action phase. My God, help me. Awesome. I think that's still 20 versus. Well, no, there's no versus. It's just 20, and you get to add.
Neg 1.
You have to,
add 1 to it.
You have to add 1 total. All right, cool. So we're up here on the blue column. Add 1 to that number.
Double ones.
Double ones.
Ooh.
Okay, double ones. Well, number 1, yeah, very dead. First of all, splat. That's going to be 3 casualty points in there. But now comes the fun. It's the opposite of a sniper. This happens very rarely. But when it happens,
that's right.
it's awesome. The Valor's roll. Okay, he gets to roll against his. These rolls are tough, but he gets to roll a 7 or less. Make that a 7 less. Make that a. Sorry, it's a 6 or less for an officer. Make that a 7 less because he's elite on 2d6.
Okay. A 7.
He is valorous. This guy has to roll under. That's on 2d6, so it's going to be rough. He has to roll a 3 or less on 2d6, but he's elite. Add 1. Plus, he's got a -1 officer in there. Make it another 1. So basically, it's a 5 or less. 3 chances in there. These 3 units get to roll a 5 to try to roll a 5 or less on 2d6. You roll once for each.
Okay, the first one. A 3.
Oh shit! Okay.
Ooh. Second one, 12.
Oops.
And the last one, a 5.
So that was 2 of them, plus the officer.
Oh, I like these dice.
These guys are now monsters. They always get to add 1 to a firepower check, anti-personnel firepower check. So he's now worth 6 instead of 5. The officer is now worth 3 instead of 2. They double in close assaults. He's now worth 10. He's now worth 10 in close assaults. They get to absorb the first firepower. They get to absorb the first casualty, like right in the chin. Their face just absorbs it because they're that badass. Basically, you got a whole bunch of. I don't know who the British Rambo is. You know what you got? You got a whole bunch of Jason Stathams here in these hexes. It's odd now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, guys, this game is one of those games that's now become so one-sided. I'm blind. My company commander is crying in a puddle of urine. He just got reinforced by, like, what the hell, man? Every badass British guy ever. You know, he basically has a platoon of James Bonds just showed up. Daniel Craig, there you go. Daniel Craig, James Bond, and Jason Statham. That's that whole unit right there. And he's got a machine gun in there. Yeah, that's a scary hex now. Holy crap. Cool. And then my new flagship got shot to shit in 3 turns. Oh, Nomad 1166. Are you Damon? I'm sorry, I didn't recognize the name. You gotta remember, guys. You guys have like 3 different names. It's a real name, a Twitch name, an on-tabletop name. Nomad 1166. If you're Damon, I apologize for not recognizing the new handle before. Your new flagship got shot to shit in 3 turns. If so, then yes, that's Damon. Boy, I'm glad I wasn't talking too much trash. I didn't even know Damon was on the stream.
What's Nomad backwards, Jim?
Nomad backwards is Damon. Oh, I gotcha. Cool. Wow. That's a hot
Trippy.
group. Oh no, we got Jen going. I said Jason Statham and Daniel Craig in the same sentence. And now Jen's all going crazy over there. All right, because science teacher, calm down, settle down. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to think of British badasses. It's a shallow and brackish pool. I only have so much I can draw from. Um, Damon's like, stop making fun of British people. No, but the British are stomping this game so hard that I'm allowed to make fun of the British a little because, holy crap, look what's happening here. So, let's see, there was a total of 5 casualty points in that hex, but you did literally 8 plus 1 becomes 7, so there's no way I could have saved anybody. Yeah, that hex is blown to shit. So now these guys don't have to fire if they don't want to.
No, they'll move.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the end of my direct fire phase.
Damon says he's always listening.
I've got sort of this mess on the left. So if I have... Okay, so I'll have the... In Delta 7, I'll have the 3 half squads move into E6, so they go E7, E6.
They run through that little sheep pen there, and then tuck up into the guy's driveway. Okay.
Yep. The squad in the building, so
Yep.
the lieutenant there.
There's a half squad and there's a officer in there.
I'll move everyone.
Okay.
They'll go to C4.
Oh no, those rocks. Okay, cool. And
C7 will join them.
okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. He can do that because you're still on the bottom part of the hill there. Okay.
Yep. My officer in E10 will move to E6. Just him by himself.
Him. Okay. That's easy. Oh, E6. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4 to jump the wall. 5.
Yep.
He does it because he's quote with an officer, so he can definitely do that.
The half squad in E10 will go to. I'm trying to do like 10 moves at once so I can get everyone linked together. Ah, thanks. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. The half squad will go to G8.
You got both medics on the same part of the board.
That was really lucky. That's actually no, that's not lucky. I
was going to say,
out.
Yeah, I would put one medic on each wing, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Fortunately, they're where you have your only casualties so far.
And the Gustav will go into G8 as well. And I'll put the other 2 half squads in there with them.
Okay, that's legal. 4 infantry units plus a support weapon.
Yep, and then the 2
weapons,
medics.
For people in the chat, support weapons never count towards victory, towards stacking limits. Okay.
Medic in D7 will go into the building there to
Help
get those
us.
casualties out.
All right.
And medic in E10 will move to D7.
Delta 7. Let me know if you need any help in there, dude. All right, the only guy that hasn't moved so far, I believe, is Fletcher's platoon.
Fletcher.
Or technically his section. Squad and a half.
Okay, Fletcher's going to go N5, 05.
N505. Okay. Staying outside of the line.
P5.
P5.
Into the building there with the...
Oh, okay. With all the guys, right.
That's a messy hex, though.
Okay.
Matter,
As
so.
he does so, we take opportunity fire. Because you are illuminated 2 different ways. And because you're moving one that happens, we do get a -2 because you're point blank adjacent. We have to add 2 back on because now you're in a building as well. So it is a total of 11 wash. I need at least 1 good roll in this whole game, guys. Thank you, everyone. Jen's bringing me more tea. Jen is keeping a very close eye on the squad of British heroes down here. I was just trying to think of, like, badass British guys from pop culture, and they happen to be like all of Jen's. Do you guys ever have what do they call it? People out there with wives and girlfriends. Do you guys have like they call it like your list? Pick 5 people.
Yeah.
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 I hit like 2 or 3 people on her list of 5, completely by accident. So now she's really paying attention to this game, which is unusual. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, webcam time. I'm on 11. Now she's poking at me. 11. You're supposed to be blowing on my dice for good luck. 11. Okay, here we go. Now comes Snake Eyes. Here we go. That was the worst, Jen. That you're blowing on the dice did not help. All right, so that is an 8 on 11. That is 1 casualty point in that stack.
Okay, I'll take it on the... Ooh. Actually, I'll take it on the officer because I need firepower in case something happens.
Alrighty. He was leading from the front. Took a bolt in the shoulder. Damn you!
That's right, the moustache copped the most of it, so he's...
Now that's these guys down here. They literally absorb the first casualty point. You can do 3 casualty points to this stack, and it just doesn't count. They're almost walking around in a little miniature force field right now. They're just badass. Especially since there's 3 Valorous units in 1 hex. I haven't seen something like that since, when the hell was it? It was either an Iwo Jima game or a Tarawa game. Original Valor and Victory, World War II, Marine Corps, landing full squads, and I roll Snake Eyes. And because it's based on your casualty rating, they were full squads. They had a casualty rating of 6, and elite, and they had an officer in there. So they basically wound up with like an 8 or whatever, like a 7 or an 8 to become Valorous. And I wound up with a platoon of 2 full squads of Valorous late war U.S. Marines. Satchel charges, flamethrowers. Those guys just cut a swath. They were going all the way to Tokyo, man. They just a feast of bone and blood all the way across the table. Poor Alex just could not kill those guys. But that was literally about 3 or 4 years ago. Since I've seen multiple Valorous units in 1 hex. That's crazy. That's almost a weapon of mass destruction right there. I don't know if you realize how powerful that stack is.
Oh yeah.
That is really serious, especially since I can't see anything. I'm still in the dark.
It's like a 30 or something in close combat, is it?
Yep. Well, 10, 14 plus 8 because this guy's not Valorous.
Okay.
So, and the machine gun doesn't become Valorous or whatever. So,
yep.
What was it? 14 plus, no, 10 plus 2 is 24, sorry. 24 plus 8 is 32 in a close assault. God damn. Yeah. Those are true paras. Hey, if nothing else, you're doing the paras justice. Well done. Okay, so that's it for my opportunity fire. We now go to my defensive fire.
Yep.
We saw that. In fact,
yes, they are illuminated.
We should have shot during opportunity fire, but I didn't say anything. Oh well, no worries. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're in range. -1 officer, -2 for or +2 for your building. So that's going to be a 10. Net add 1. I literally haven't had a good die roll yet. That's okay. This is the kind of game where it literally doesn't matter. That becomes a 9. That's no effect at this range, or on that row. Technically, L4 blocks me. Also, I think I'm out of range. 2, 3, 4, 5. At least full range, but technically L4 blocks me. Anyway, for this group of fire. Because you see, again, just for people in the chat, you see where the line of fire, again, you use the center of the dot. That's why the hexes all have dots in the center. You always measure line of sight from center to center. And as you do that, my line of fire clearly goes through L4. The center of L4 is considered an elevation hex because it's got elevation graphic on it. Yep. Technically, L4 blocks me. So I can't see that. That is it for my defensive fire. We go to your advance and assault phase. Apparently we have some kids outside running around screaming. So if you hear any noise, I'm not...
Yeah, I thought I heard something.
Yeah, it's kids outside chasing a dog around. All right.
Okay, so I'll go D7 to D6. That medic will jump in there.
Cool.
The Valorous unit will go into N8. Don't want to get too close. My captain will go from E6 to E5. Sorry, E6 to D5.
Get up the hill, boy.
And the Gustav will get lugged to H7.
Okay.
Ooh. And then my last Marines will go C4 to D3.
Okay, if that's it for your assault and movement phase, we then go to after action phase. Oh, yep. No, you're going to do an assault into those rocks, or?
No, I'll stay with the casualties.
Okay, cool. In that case, let's try to, in fact, let's go ahead and go to after action phase. All right, so we have 2 medics in this, we have 2 medics in this group, or whatever, in this hex, and we have 2 casualties. So that's 1 safely evacuated casualty for the British. Oh, sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. 1 safely evacuated casualty for the British, and then is your other medic going to stabilize that Argentinian casualty?
Yeah, he'll stabilize him.
Okay, he then gets converted into a prisoner, which I don't have counters for. So
that's all right. Just put the casualty with the British. Right.
That's your little unofficial MASH, that little farmer's hut. It's become your little,
yeah,
your
she worked out pretty
technical, your little temporary field hospital. I'd love to bombard it with mortar shells. If only I had some mortars. You literally just saved one of our guys. We don't care. We're shelling them anyway. Oh, I forgot. Our mortar shell guy got brained down by a random British sniper. That wasn't cool. All right, so and then if we're going to finish up the after action phase, we'll try to rally that officer. He rallies on a 7 or less because he's elite on 2d6.
10.
He does not rally. What's up with your officers, man? They're either
It's Mr. Fletcher. He's just going on about tanks.
yeah.
He's
Do
too
you
busy.
know that those Italian tanks, they weren't even bolted. They weren't even riveted together. They were bolted. All you would need is one hit from a high explosive shell. This thing would literally disassemble itself before your eyes. Okay, so I think that concludes British turn 3.
Yes.
Argentinian turn 3. Begin with combat. Begin with the.
Officer finally
He says,
gets a
"What?
change of pants.
The sniper's gone. Okay, I'll be brave now." All right, and I think that's it. So now we go to command phase. I have no more fire missions, so we go to. Well, that was a direct fire mission anyway. The mortars that I no longer have. Speaking of direct fire, we're gonna blast away again.
Yep.
And this time,
That was
okay. The only problem for me is that these guys don't get the +2 penalty for opportunity fire now, because you're no longer moving.
Yep.
You're on your bellies in that farmhouse. So that becomes.
And that flare will become a flare 1.
Yes, thank you. Make sure I'm not missing any other flares. Cool. We now drop a 11 pointers. Oh, I'm sorry, an 11-point shot +2 to die roll for your building. So I have no officer in there.
Yep.
I need a good roll. Oh my god, dude, my dice are like.
Oh,
you,
Jim,
man.
get some new dice, man.
Yeah, that's all right. 11. This is one of those games where once you get, I mean, it's never fun to lose, but once you're losing to a certain point, it's like it becomes funny. It's like this is great. This is awesome. And now I have a 10, which drops me a column. However, I do get to add 1 to the roll, subtract 1 from the roll for my officer, add 2 for buildings. So it's kind of the same roll. Basically a 5 to 10, except now I only have to add 1 to the roll.
Add 1. Yep.
Another 10. Jesus, that becomes an 11.
Oh.
Yeah, these Argentinians are just not. They're not with it tonight. Alrighty, that's it for direct fire. These guys are not close enough. They haven't fired at me yet. Okay, so we go to Argentinian movement.
Yep.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it for my movement. Any defensive fire on your side?
So L3 is lit up.
L3 is lit up.
But you didn't move anything into it, so I can't see. So no defensive fire. Yeah, no, I can't see anything that moved.
Why is L3 lit up? Oh, yeah, because we fired, but yeah. No,
Because you fired at me, but yeah, that's
yep.
yeah.
Cool. All right, so then we go to my assault movement phase.
Oh, actually, I think I might have. No, sorry, yeah, no, the hill's in the way of the guys who were in Q6. The hill's in the way there from N8.
Q6. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, the hill's in the way there.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I pulled back there. That's why I didn't take the
Yep.
objective hex and I put the rock. So at least you have to come to me at least one hex. Basically, I'm trying to get one more opportunity fire phase on it.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's cool. Cool.
I think that's going to be it for my phase. From now on, the Argentinian phase is going to be pretty short because we can't see shit. You blinded us when you took out that mortar section. We can't drop any more flares. We basically have to rely on your flares now. That stack is max hex. That hex is maximum stacked. Okay. That's going to be it for my for my advance and movement phase. I don't really have any after action phase. That's going to conclude Argentinian turn 3.
Yep.
Damn it. Hold on. I'm having a tough time with. There we go. Just remember to have to go to work tomorrow. Ugh. But I only have a 2-day week because I took some time off. I have Wednesday off through next Monday, so I have a 5-day weekend coming up. Yay!
Oh, cool.
That's how the work
Nice.
week should be. 2 days of work, 5-day work week, instead of the reverse. Okay, we begin para turn 4 with automatically rallying pinned units. That's going to be Mr. Fletcher. Finally stopped talking about Italian tanks. And this flare now dissipates.
Yep.
Okay, and now it's up to you to drop new fire missions. Now remember, you can use more than one fire mission in a turn.
Yes.
So
yeah.
if you want to drop a flare and also drop an HE mission, that does become legal. Otherwise, you would literally never get to do it because by the time the flare only lasts 2 turns, by the time it comes to your next command phase, the flare is gone.
It'll be gone.
Yeah, you can use more than one at once.
No, I don't think I'll do any flares right now. I think this is a movement turn, I think.
Oh, cool. So. He's going to use the cover of darkness. Darkness, everybody. Darkness is spreading. Alrighty. To quote the immortal Rick James. Okay, then we go to your direct fire phase. Well, now that you turn the lights out, there's not a whole lot anybody can see.
Nope. No, so I'll go straight on to the movement phase.
Cool, bring it.
Fletcher's going to take his men from P5 into Q6.
When I got to the end of my phase, I should have technically rolled for those 3 casualties.
So okay, yeah.
They're all okay for now. Yay.
Cool.
All right, sorry. All right, over to your movement
That's
phase.
All good. So Fletcher will move P5 to Q6.
I'd like to tell you about the Vickers light tank. Oh no, he's throwing books at us. All right. We'll take opportunity fire, +2 for living stone, -2 for opportunity fire point blank. So that's a straight out 11 with no penalties. This is our last chance, man. Will you please do something? I'm on this row. Four, finally. 4 with no penalties.
Ooh.
Mr. Fletcher, you just ate shit. 5 casualty points for Mr. Fletcher.
That is a dead half squad, and 2 Fletcher will be pinned, and another half squad will be pinned.
Okay, that is a British casualty in the hex.
Yep.
Okay, that's it for that opportunity fire. Continue with your movement.
Okay, so the Valor squad.
Oh no. Now that they've taken all the opportunity fire.
No matter how I did it, they're always 1 hex away, so then no assaults this turn, but they're going to go M8, L7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They could have made that assault. Oh, you're
Oh
going.
no, I don't want to
Okay, you're
stuck in
going
the
up this
corner
way.
over there. Yeah, no.
Okay, so
They're going to be doing some
they're going a different direction. All right, cool. So which way are they going?
M8, L7,
1, 2,
1, 2,
3,
L6, L5.
4, 5, 6. Just to see how awesome these guys are, we'll take that opportunity fire because they're in the open. So I get -1. There's no cover, so oh wait, they're in darkness. I ain't doing shit.
They're within 3 though.
They're within 3, but they haven't fired.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
They are creeping up on me, freaking Rambo style. Dude, I'm telling you, that's Jason Statham, man. Jason Statham and Daniel Craig they're just creeping up on me, man. Oh no. Not that it matters. If I fired at them, the first 3 casualty points don't count. Because each Valorous unit can just absorb a casualty point for free. Oh my god. Okay, never mind. No opportunity fire there.
And the guys with the Gustav. You know what? They probably don't need that Gustav. Is there a way for me to abandon that gun?
Yeah, if you just want to ditch it.
Yeah, I think they'll just ditch it. I think.
Now you'll speed up a little bit.
Yeah, they need
It doesn't
bayonets.
count. It doesn't count as a unit, but it's just you don't have it for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
They're going to go to J5.
You bury it. You leave a helmet on there, and yeah, we'll come back and get it later or something.
Get yelled at for leaving it behind.
Yeah.
So I7, J6, J5.
4 movement points. Cool.
And okay, D3 to D2.
Oh, wrong column. Okay. Oh no. All right, that's 1.
And D5 to C3. Damon says, make sure it's quote unquote broken before you ditch it, or the quartermaster will rip you a new one.
Or you just bury it and come out and get it later, clean it off really good, and then turn it in. Hey, you're talking to you're talking to a quartermaster, Damon. You're talking to a we call it supply, but 3043 supply admin and logistics. You try to come back and tell me that you just lost that weapon. You better have a damn good story. We used to have these pieces of paperwork when people would try to, say that they didn't have something anymore. They want to check out of the base, and okay, we checked out these 42 items to you a year ago. You have to turn in these 42 items before we let you leave our base. I lost these 2 things. Okay, you have to fill out what they called a D9Z, a miscellaneous loss. We used to call them pawn shop receipts. It's like, dude, you sold this. All right, don't even try. You were broke for beer money, and you sold your Kevlar helmet for like $20. Don't try and front. If it's broken, you better come back with the pieces and show us that it's broken. Otherwise, you probably sold it. I don't know who on the Falklands would buy a Carl Gustav, but come back 20 years later for a reunion, there's a Carl Gustav mounted over somebody's fireplace. Some bloke left that here back in 1982. All right. Are your medics moving, or are they happy in their little aid station?
Yeah, the medics will move. One will go to D3 because that's
1, 2, 3, 4.
Probably going to be needed there, and the other one will go to H6.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
And let's move.
Assault and a defensive fire. The only defensive fire I can take, I've already taken in the opportunity fire phase.
Yep.
So we go to your advance and assault phase.
Okay. L5 to L4 with the Valorous squad there, or the Valorous platoon.
Ooh, now they're going to be spotted. And the Argentinian turn is coming up. I should assault them just to be a... That
Oh,
would be.
please do.
I was gonna say that'd be the last thing they ever did.
J5 into J4. The
Alright.
leaderless squads there.
Hey guys, can we join your team? You guys are awesome. Stay over there in the rocks where you belong. Okay, medic.
Just some corporals just running that thing.
Yeah.
H6 to I6. And
Old Jones is
D2 to
looking for promotion again. He's making us run all over this damn island. Okay, over here somewhere.
D2 to C2.
Oof.
Uh,
Okay, we're all right, guys. It's getting real now. Now these guys are
Oh,
light
yeah.
assault. Okay.
and C3 to B2.
If nothing else, put myself out of my misery. All right, D3 to C3.
Yep.
Medic following up.
And that's me.
You mean you're not assaulting with?
With a single guy? No, no.
with your.
I'll try and evacuate that casualty, but
Okay, cool. So we go to your after action phase. Yeah, he's going to try to evacuate the casualty. It's a standard rally check, 6 or less on 2d6. He's elite, so it goes to 7. 7 or less on 2d6.
5.
He has successfully patched up that casualty. He is heading home. All right. And now we can try to rally this officer on a 7 or less. 2d6.
Okay. 5.
Hey! I was trying to explain something to you when you shot at me. All right, Fletcher's little fan club here, if he can rally.
An 8. No.
Nope. All right, well, you know what that means. I'm just going to assault, and
Yes.
even if they assault, that's 1 free casualty, just automatic. Sweet!
Yep.
Las Malvinas, these are our islands. British, go home. We stole these from the Spanish fair and square back in 1815. Get the hell out of here. Never let it say that the op center is not fair and balanced. I present the absurdity of both sides equally. Okay, so now we go to the beginning of turn 4 for the Argentinians. Oh, man.
Yep.
Oh, man. Dun, 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 dun. Except I think I lost them all. Where is my...
So they just teleported somewhere. Yeah.
Well, I'm recombining.
Oh, so okay. Yep. Sorry. Into a.
So I can fit more guys into the meat grinder.
Oh, there's a medic in there. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely a situation where you want to use a full squad rather than a half squad. Just to stack that hex.
Unfortunately, I used up most of my grenades. No! Okay. So that's going to be it for my command phase. We go to direct fire phase. No, 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 no. All Argentinians, if the Argentinians had a bugle, they'd be blowing it right now. We're all charging. This is called, everybody in this chat, this is called the put yourself out of your misery phase. This game has gone so sideways. It's just time to end the stream now with a chuckle. All right. These night rules did not work once I lost my illumination device. Next, so, you know, nothing wrong with the
Yeah, you
rules.
kind of need those.
Just a weird conflicts of events. In fact, if anything, it worked out. The night rules worked out great because this is what happens when one side can see and the other side can't. I just didn't expect that weird turn of events to happen. But if anything, it worked out great. All right, 1, 2, 3. Oh man, 1, 2, 3. Oof, 1. Hopefully you just won't shoot at me. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm not going to shoot at a medic.
Yeah.
I'm not playing my bolt action Russians. I'm not shooting at medics.
Yeah, casualties do not come back do not come back as troops. They just get evacuated off the table.
Yep.
And that building's not an objective X, is it?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's not. If that building's an objective X, then the medic in there would reclaim it, so then you would shoot at him. But, yeah, he's just yelling out in his broken English, I'm just going to that farmhouse. All right. Although it'd be totally legal to take opportunity fire on him and shoot the piss out of him. But that's it for my movement. Oh, actually, no, it's not.
That would not look good in the papers for... The British are in enough trouble back home to be shooting medics right now, so don't think I'll do that.
Okay, assault and movement phase. We know what's coming. Number 1, there. And then assault, boom, assault, boom. This is an absurd assault. I literally just want to see what happens. Assaulting? Yeah, I mean, if you're ever going to wipe out a Valorous units, that's the only way to do it is by assault. The problem is that they all double. So, yeah, this is going to be a slaughter. This is a bad move, guys. This is not how you play Valor in Victory. Now, down here, on the other hand, it's a different story. Boom, automatic casualty.
Yeah, Fletcher's in trouble with them.
Automatic casualty. Then, I have a total of 11 versus your 7. That's going to give me an easy 1-1. I'm going to throw in my 1 grenade I have left.
I'll throw in 2 grenades.
2 grenades.
Yep.
Okay, now that gives you a -3. -1 for Fletcher, -2 for the grenades is -3. I only get -1 because there's no officer in there. So this might not have been such a hot idea after all. So it's a 11-7. Let's call that 2-1. But then I have to add 2 to the die roll. So
yep.
I'm really looking for a 6 or less. Six or less. There we go with a 5. That did it. You are 2 infantry units in there. We actually wipe each other out. There's 2 infantry units in there. Fletcher counts as 1, plus there's a unit. Plus there's rocks. That cost me 4 casualty points to do that.
Yep. And that's it.
There's
that's
only 4, so I kill those 2, and even if I pin him, that's only 3. So I have to wipe out that group as well. Eliminated. That medic has got all kinds of job to do.
Oh yeah, that's
He's
1,
got,
2, 3, 4, 5.
And then there's 2 more Argentinians in there as well.
So there's 9 casualties in a 2-square area of the board.
It's actually not funny. I shouldn't be laughing, but it's kind of funny. Okay. Now for the really bad one. 8 and 8 is 16. Plus 2 is 20. I'm going to use that law. It's 25. Versus your...
20.
30?
No, I think it was 30.
Right, because that
32,
there,
sorry. 10 and 10 is 20.
14 is 28. 28 plus 8 is 34.
34.
Where am I getting 28 from? Because I don't know how to subtract and add. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 8 plus 8 is, 32. Sorry. 32 against my 25. That is definitely 1 to 2 odds. I have no grenades to throw in there. You always round in favor of the defender. There's definitely no I mean, 11 to 7 technically should have been 1 to 1. It's really close. If it's like super close, I usually just give it the next column up. But 25 to 32 is not close. Plus, I'm
Yep.
charging elite units plus your valors. Basically, if any benefit of the doubt is going to be thrown on the table, it would be in your favor, not mine. So my 25 versus your 32, that's definitely 1 to 2. I can throw in no grenades. I do have a -2 officer leading the assault.
Yep.
It's
And how
Captain,
many of
you
your
shit my
grenades?
britches. You can throw in 4, and you have 1 left.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it in just because you have a -2 officer there.
All right, cool. So you throw in your last grenade. It's crush time. Okay, cool. So now I have 1. So it's 1 to 2. Wash. I need.
With a -1 to you.
No. You have. No, because these are not.
Sorry, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm doubling up. Sorry.
your officers, when you have multiple officers in an assault, you're not allowed to cumulative. There's going to be
Yep.
one leader of the assault. You just pick the best one. So it's
Okay,
mine a
cool.
-2, your -2, one for the officer Chandler, that is, and one for he. Why does Chandler have a -1? It's because of his teeth. He just smiles and scares everybody. So Chandler threw a grenade in there. That gives him 2 versus my 2. It's a wash. However, you do outgun me because your guys are all valorous, and that is going to be 1 to 5, 1 to 2 wash. I need to roll 5 or less on 2d6. A 5.
Ooh,
That is a successful assault. Again,
nice.
I think you know what. Let me triple check that. Again, valorous unit. Um,
There does have to be some way to kill them, so I imagine that.
they do get the double. I know that.
Yeah, that's a huge bonus.
Come on, PDF. Search the damn document. All right, I went to search by Valor and it like froze up the document. Yeah, I know about the table of contents, bro. That doesn't help. Oh God. All right, I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Great little game, guys. Seriously, it's an 18 or 20-page rule book, and if you, it's free. Um, okay, Valor. Valor is a reflection of an infantry unit undergoing battle hardening during combat. Infantry units only. Natural unmodified of 2. Check for Valor. Okay, we did all that. Valor effects. A Valorous unit can ignore the first casualty point inflicted against it. Valorous unit adds +1 to its inherent APFP, making AP. Doubles its inherent attack when conducting or defending against close assault.
Doesn't affect support weapons.
Yep.
And -1 from any ATFP attack dice roll. So, and we don't have any heroes.
Yeah, hero is basically a commander who's not a commander. Is the thing. In fact, what I want to do eventually is the opposite of that. I want to start creating -0 officers.
Okay.
People would ask why. What's the point? Well, they will give you the better movement rate, and they will allow you to call on fire missions, but they don't have that inherent, kick-ass, leadership bonus. These are your basic. I just get out of West Point, guys that don't do much. I have seen some people on
Yep.
Board Game Geek with -3 officers. I've never tried that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know there are some serious badasses. I'm not taking it too seriously because the guy that did it that I saw on Board Game Geek did it for his, get this, his Valor and Victory adaptation of Mars Attacks. I'm actually not kidding. So if you think we're getting crazy with our Falklands game, the one game I really do want to do, and let me know if you ever want to try this, I desperately want to one of these days when I have some time, which might be coming up. I'm kind of between series now in Op Center. I want to do Valor and Victory for Star Wars. I want to do stormtroopers versus
Oh, that'd be cool.
like rebel commandos and stuff like that.
Nice.
Most
Yeah,
ground
that'd be really
battles
cool.
most ground battles in Star Wars are infantry based, and the vehicles kind of suck. I mean, like Luke blows up AT-ATs with a lightsaber, and that's pretty much fits with Valor and Victory. Tanks are atrocious. I mean, you blew up a Marine Corps tank last game. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Tanks, they hit hard, but they don't really.
Well, and again, I mean, people on the chat have also seen some of our games of Panzer Leader. An entire Valor and Victory game board could easily fit inside one Panzer Leader hex. So, if there's a tank on the table, that means that the turtle has already been dropped to the ant pile, so to speak. The tank commander has already screwed up, or else he's firing from 20 Valor and Victory tables away. For actual tank combat. But yeah, I don't see anything on here. Yeah, that looks like that stack is actually tanked. Wow, this
Yep.
this game went really sideways. That is one,
So how many
two,
units?
3, 4. That cost me 4 casualty points. That can't be right. Yeah, I've literally never had this happen before. Yeah, you have 4 casualty points in there. You know what? You're valorous, so I'm going to charge double. No, because you got doubled on your attack factors. I just got a really lucky roll.
Yeah, that was your one actual good roll.
All right, guys. If I'm doing this wrong, I apologize. Later on, but that's going to be 4 casualty. Dude, this game is out of control, man. How many more casualty points do we got? Holy crap. And there's also 1, 2, 3, 4. This is getting absurd. I mean, how many casualties are... This is what happens when both sides get casualty points. I never tried this before, and now I know why. There we go. Bring to front. All right.
Now we have the assault in the east.
8 plus 4 is 12. Plus 7 more is 21. No, 19, sorry. 21. And 4 is 25. 25 versus 17 is a 1-to-1. I have no grenades left. You have no grenades left. You have a -1 to the officer. Net. I have a -1. You have a -2. This is Keegan. So it's a 1-to-2. Add 1 to the die roll. I have to roll a 4 or less on 2d6.
Yep.
I was gonna say if I roll a 4 or less, I'm gonna quit. All right, 10. That's a failed assault. Failed assault is the attacking force wiped out. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, I messed up slightly back here. That's only 2 Argentinian casualty points. For the full squad counts as 2. Alright, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, first of all, that assault wasn't even legal. I have 5 infantry units in that assault. Alright, well, I lost anyway. 1, but we'll only count 4 for your casualty point requirements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I don't know how to count. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this game went a little sideways. Okay, and then 4 casualty points. There were 4 infantry units legal in that attack, so you only have to pay 4 casualty points.
Okay.
You could
I'll
theoretically
just pin everyone.
pin the entire stack. That costs you exactly no casualties. That's what happens when you have Paras. Cool. All right. Then we go to after action phase. Somehow I deleted these 3 casualty points in here that were in this little barn that this medic tried to get to before.
Yep.
So he evacuates 1. He can only evacuate 1 a turn. I've got 2 here I have to roll for. They're both okay. I have 1, 2, 3 chances to evacuate these 2 in this hex here. So first I'm going to do the officer. He has to roll an 8 or less because he's a -2 officer. That's 1 evacuated. 7 or less with this guy. Oh, dice. Okay, both of these are safely evacuated. Oh man, I'm so confused. I've completely lost track of what I was doing. Okay, Argentinians. 2 plus this guy was safely evacuated. 3 plus these 2 were not. These 2 guys bled out. I'll use the sniper to sort of divide the casualty pools. Alright, so this is the Argentinian casualty points. 1, 2, 3 secured, 2 unsecured so far. Over here, I have 5 more because I'm an idiot. I don't know how to count to 4. So I'll get 5 dice total. Roll all at once. Get him out of there. Oh my god, 3. So apparently one guy threw a grenade and then 2 other guys jumped on the same grenade as we're trying to storm those rocks. So these are unsecured casualties. These guys have now died. It's ironic. That's kind of what I was expecting to happen here. I didn't expect this assault to actually succeed. I still don't believe that worked. After all that pumping up about how awesome those guys are, and then we pretty much just stomped on them. Actually, you know what we have? He evacuated 1 casualty. He evacuated the other Argentinian casualty. There's 1 squad of conscripts in there. Actually, 2 squads. No, it's only 1 infantry unit. Let me not be cheesy. He's going to try and stabilize one of those British casualties. He has to roll a 6 or less.
Okay.
Your lives are in the hand of Argentinian first aid training. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Alright, here we go. I shouldn't talk trash. You just saved a British life. Unfortunately,
Nice.
you are also a prisoner. Okay. That's going to wrap up Argentinian turn 4. So now we begin British turn 5.
Yep.
Game's pretty much over at this point, everybody. Check this stream. Oh, it says connecting to chat. If I'm missing stuff in the chat, guys, I'm sorry. My Twitch stream
No, there hasn't been any
just totally
new
died.
chat.
I literally lost my connection. What the hell, man? That ain't cool. That was weird. Alright, I will not let that bog me down too much.
Okay.
Okay, first thing that happens, all your guys rally.
Yep. Alright, so the captain will take his sections there.
Okay, so there's no, you have 3 fire missions left. Any flares with your command phase?
I don't think I can see anyone with an officer. Because this is the time when I should just flare and then drop tons of HE, but I don't think I can actually see anybody.
Yeah, you can. actually quite easily.
Does it have to be with an officer though,
It
or
has to be with an officer, but it's a question of elevation.
okay?
If there's a way I can draw these maps to make it a little more clear, let me know. But yeah, you're from
Oh
one.
no, yeah, they're on the same level.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're on
yeah,
one province to another
yep,
province. You're seeing across this valley.
I got it. Yep. Yeah, cool. Then I'll drop a lum round on them, and then 2 HE rounds.
You need to drop
Oh no, I can't
casualties
because
on your own
there's
casualties.
no, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that at all. No, just a lum round.
All right.
We wouldn't drop HE. We'd only fire what's that? 20 fouls into them and a couple of FN mags.
Oh man. Right.
It'd be 2 officers.
I mean, there's literally only 2 guys in there. I mean, like, oh no, there's that full squad still in there. Sorry.
That's a firing squad at this point, not a.
Yeah, they're trying to save those casualties, but then again, I have a feeling that we might be getting assaulted soon. Okay, so that's it for.
Oh,
oh my
command.
god, that's literally my whole army at this point. Is those three counters, and the medic. That's okay. Yeah, this game is super almost over. Okay.
Yep. So then movement B2. 1, 2, 3,
Oh, what B2? I got it.
Yep. B2 E4. So B3 C4 D4 E4.
So he goes to. I'm sorry. He starts off here. I lost track of what you were saying. Where's he heading?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it goes to B3.
Yep.
So that's 1. C4 is 3.
No, because he's going down the hill. So it's 1, 2.
Okay. Yep. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm so used to going up the hill. So.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he'll end up in G3. So over there. The medic will move into B2. And the lieutenant will move into to F1.
Is the medic going to occupy that objective hex, technically?
He will go in there in the advanced and assault phase, yep.
Does he want to go in there now so we can try to evacuate a casualty, i.e. take a prisoner?
I don't think he can actually reach.
Oh, technically you're right. Because he started off here, right? That cost 1, 2, 3. Yeah, either way he winds up. Yeah, you know what? You're paying more attention than I am. I'm sorry. Okay, where's your lieutenant going? I'm sorry.
To F1. So D1, E1, F1.
D1, F1. Oops. D, E, F1. Sorry, there we go. I'm trying to get the chat going again. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, I just totally lost connection. I should have reset my modem. Cool. All right, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got more movement if he wants. Because he started in C2.
G2,
right?
H1.
Yep.
Yep. Just trying. And that's movement. I'll try and shoot those guys out of that hex there. Oh, yeah. And the medical move into I5. Sorry.
Got it.
I6 to I5. Just a little bit of cover.
He's now invisible. Yeah, he's completely blocked by the rocks these guys are hiding in. Cool.
Yep.
All right, so fire phase. We're looking at a total of 20 because these are all half squads, right? Yeah, 20.
Yep.
Cool. Into that hex. That's an open hex, so take your shot. 20 at on the blue table.
Okay. Whoop, a 4 and a 3. So 7.
3 casualty points. I'm going to re-knock that full squad down to a half squad. Oh no, I have no half squads. I have to go back to a previous turn to get one. That was only 2 points. He went from a 4 to a 2 in casualty rating. You see how weak these Argentinian casualty points are. That's what happens.
Yeah, very.
Well, that's actually used. That's standard. The thing is that with modern war, you're so often playing with like elite units, Australians, Marines, British Paras, British Royal Marines. That when you actually run across like just standard conscript infantry, like, oh man, these guys suck. Not really. They're just normal. Just in modern war, a country doesn't usually have to send its whole army. You only send in like the very best. Normal troops are actually almost the exception, conversely. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and then 3. Accounts for my 3 casualty points.
Yep. And that's my direct fire phase.
All right. For some reason, we did movement before direct fire, but that's okay.
Okay,
as
yeah.
long as the same unit didn't do both, which is no worries. So opportunity or my defensive fire phase. Technically now you are not illuminated, because my flare or your flare is here, and only those hexes are illuminated. However, this stack is within 3, and you did fire, so I do get to shoot at you, but I have to add 1. This is the only time we've gotten to use that rule. Partial. Basically, there's cloaked in darkness, spotted, and illuminated. So these guys are complete darkness. These guys are illuminated. There's a flare literally right over them in the open, and these guys are spotted. So there's 3 levels. So I have a grand total of, technically this guy was carrying the law, so I can't use the law. I have only 4 points. I get to subtract 2 from the die roll for my best officer in the stack. So it's going to be 4 points minus 2 plus 2 for your rocks. You're in that folded quartzite. That's all over the Falklands. Plus 1 for darkness, because I'm only shooting at muzzle flashes. So we're looking at a grand total of 4 points, add 1 to the die roll. Oh man, this is terrible.
Oof.
I don't know. The way I
Double
roll,
6s.
Yeah, right, here it comes. This is one of those shots that's almost not worth it, because you're almost more likely to get double 6s than something good. 1 and a 3. Oh man.
Oh.
Argentinian luck has suddenly taken a bolt turn to the right. That was a 4, however, that becomes a net add 1. Subtract 2 for my officer, add 3 for various conditions. That 4 is read as a 5. That is 2 casualty points for the British.
Right, I'll pin 2 half squads.
Alright, that's it for my defensive fire phase. Your assault and move phase. Or your advance and assault phase. I've been playing this game for 5 years. I still can't remember the name of that stupid phase. Advance and assault phase.
Medic into A2.
Medic into A2. Cool, he's in there.
Lieutenant in H1 will go into I2. The captain will take his men to H3. And the pinned down British got to stay where it is. And everyone else is good where they are.
Okay. Now, one thing I did get wrong last game, if you ever want to really, really see if you're playing a game right, run it on video and then edit the video afterwards when you have to literally look at every second of the video. And you're like, okay. So one of the things that I was doing wrong last turn, or when we played with our Marine game last week, was this guy who just used his assault and movement phase, his advance and assault phase. Oh my god, that's going to be the new shot glass. When he used his advance and assault phase, he went into that hex. That's a different phase from his after action phase. So in summary, he gets to evacuate a casualty. Last week I said the opposite. I was wrong. So that is a Argentinian POW to your side.
Yep.
And I think that's the only medic you have. You have to roll for your 3 guys here to bleed out. 1, 2, 3. 3d6s.
Okay, so
Try to avoid 5s and 6s.
3 5s.
They all died. That's atrocious. That's not good at all. Not that points really matter in this game, but yeah, that is not good. Okay. Try to rally those 2 pinned down half squads in Juliet 4. They need 7s.
An 8
Okay, no.
and a 7.
Yes to the one, no to the other. Okay. That, I think, wraps up British turn 5. Unless I'm missing something.
Nope, that's pretty much it.
Argentinian turn 5. This flare goes down to 1. Automatically rally, pin down units. Defensive fire. I'm sorry, direct fire. Again, these guys have fired. -2 for rocks, -1 for darkness. The difference is now I get to use this pin down unit in his law. He fires his law. That law is now expended. 5 points plus 4 for the team becomes 9 plus 4 is 13 minus 2 plus 3. 13 net add 1.
Yep.
Net add 1. That becomes a 10 on 13. That is no effect. I fired my law for no reason. Alright, that's literally it. That's literally my whole army, is that little group plus that medic. Speaking of which, my movement phase, I can't move because I've already done my attack. Assault and movement phase. Oh, sorry, your defensive fire.
Yes.
Yeah, before I run, you get to shoot at me. With your 15
15.
points. 15 adds nothing because I'm in the open and I'm under a flare.
Yep. 9.
9 on 15 is no casualty points.
Ooh.
Barely. Okay, now we go to my assault movement phase. We back up 1 hex into the house. Rocks.
Yep.
And also just to make you fight for that objective hex. After action phase, evacuate another prisoner. Or I'm sorry, another casualty. Roll for the guys that are still unsecured. This guy here, then these 2. Wrong button. Okay, guy in the house is dead. 2 guys in the rocks. Oh my god, 3 6s. Look at that.
Oh.
The roll of the beast. Jesus. Dude, I don't know what happened on this ridge. Somebody accidentally released like a mustard gas grenade or something. Everybody there just died for no reason. They all turned into zombies. Okay, that medic's like, what? Well, I guess I'm not got nothing else to do here. And then this guy that you haven't gotten to yet. Here's the part where, as the cold calculating Argentinian player, you're like, I hope that casualty dies. Otherwise, he becomes a prisoner. But hey, sure enough, he died. 4th 6 in a row. Holy crap!
Ooh.
Just the cold wind of death just blew over the whole battlefield. There'll be no survivors. Okay. That wraps up Argentinian turn 5.
Okay.
Cool. So, beginning last turn of the game. Yeah, because science teacher notes that we just had our own artillery. Yeah, we have a thunderstorm going here. So if you hear any booms,
Okay.
It's not more sound effects. It's just we're undergoing our usual summer afternoon thunderstorm. Okay, last turn of the game. You have nothing to rally.
There's a half squad in J4.
Oh, yes, there is. Sorry. Okay, this flare now goes down to a 0. You've got 2
Yep.
fire missions left. Yeah, we used that, but you have 2 fire missions left. Drop a flare and a fire mission on those rocks.
I don't have officer line of sight because those rocks in front of me are...
Oh, I'm so sorry. You are correct.
Unless I go L2 and try and scatter, but that's way too random.
Yeah, you could do it and it would scatter.
I won't do that. It's just going to be
Yeah.
pointless. What I'm going to do is combine every single half squad into a full squad.
Alright, I gotta go get some full squads. Because I keep deleting them and not just moving them to the side, so I always... Alright, there's one. These 2 combine.
Yep.
I see what's coming. It ain't pretty. These are going to combine into 2 full squads. Come on, have a go if you think you're odd enough. Oh boy, here come the hooligans. Okay. I await your displeasure. First
Okay.
fire phase. If you want to try to put some fire from that double squad straight up the hill, or if you want to assault.
No, they're going to be moving.
Oh no.
So it'll be the captain will go into the captain and the full squad will go I4 J4. And I4 J4 1 2 3 4. So that's 1 2. Actually, no, sorry. He'll go into I4 J3 and it's still not going to work, is it?
3 4. Yeah, you got it. 1 2.
But then K3 will be
3 4. 5 6.
Actually, okay,
7.
so
You just have to go into K. You just have to go into K4.
what if I go 1 2
1 2
3
3 4
4
5
okay,
6.
so if I go H3 to I3 to J2.
Okay. Oh, what happened? What the hell?
Oh.
All right, start over. All right, you started off here.
Okay.
You go to which way now?
I'm going to go. Well, so I'm going to screen. Okay, cool. So I3 J2.
I3. What's 1 2 3
And then into K3.
4 5 6. There it is. Yeah, that's a better solution. Yeah, you don't want to. If you can possibly help it, you don't want to charge through K4. K3 is much better. Needs to have some cover. Okay. Technically, if I'm going to take opportunity fire, it has to be now. I have to take it as you're
I've got more
moving.
movement to do.
Yeah, I know, but
can,
my point is, well, see, if I want to take opportunity fire against these guys, I have to take it now. This is where you can get a little poker faced with your 1 2 3 4. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take it now.
Okay.
I know you have more movement, but technically, you can't. The defending player can't make the opponent take all of his movement, and then the defending player cannot assess everything that you moved and say, okay, I'll take my opportunity fire back here. You have to take it as the guy is moving. This allows a KG player to kind of fake out the enemy or throw away expendable units, or like you might attack here, and then I'll be like, oh, do I attack? Do I use opportunity fire? What if he attacks here later? I don't know. Yeah. So now I'm kind of like hung. Yeah, you want to. That's one of the few subtle differences between defensive fire and opportunity fire, and it's why we get that bonus for opportunity fire. I'm going to take it now. -2, -2, +2, so it's a grand total of, so again, -2 for the officer, -2 for point blank opportunity fire, +2 for rocks. So it's -4 +2, net -2. I have a grand total of 8 at -2. This is literally probably the last Argentinian turn of the game. This -2. With a 5, that becomes a 3. That is a lot.
Ooh.
5 casualty points.
4. That'll be a dead full squad.
You
Yeah,
only
I
have
don't
to.
want to pin.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do a dead full squad. I could have done a half squad and then done some pins, but
Full squad counts as 2 casualty partners. Okay, the rest of your movement is free and clear because I've shot literally all my guns.
Damon's given us another football chant that I can't repeat, but
Oh no.
there's one in Twitch if you want to read it.
Well, hey, we made the British pay for it. Because we just wiped out another squad of Paris. I'll tell you what, the Argentinians had a rough start, but they have really rallied a little
They've
bit at
come
the
back.
very end here. Yeah.
Yeah. Before I forget, H3 is going to go G4, F4, and then end up in E6.
Okay, H3 goes to G4 and winds up in which 6? E6?
E6. Yeah.
Got it. Hey, you already took that.
Okay.
You already took that objective base. You don't have to garrison.
Yeah, I know. I just
Cool.
for
The only two you're not gonna have, you're not gonna take this one, and technically no one ever took this one, but you still have 3. Yeah. So you won on victory points, or I should say on objective axes.
okay.
All right.
J4 into K4 into K3.
Into K3. Yep, that is legal 1, 2, 3 because casualty points don't count. There's only 3 big points in that hex. 3 units in that hex. You can get in one more.
Yep, I2 into K3.
Some of I2. You can bring in the full squad in there.
Yeah, sorry, the full squad and the MG.
So where's Holmes going? Poor Holmes.
He's going to go 1, 2, 3.
He's going to watch
4,
from
5,
H3.
6. Oh, I can get that objective.
Oh.
He's going to go J1, K1.
1, 2, 3, 4,
L1.
5,
M1.
6. And then he can grab that
And
in
then-
the assault to move phase. There you go.
Yep.
Awesome. Hey, you see Holmes? He's my favorite. Taken from us way too soon. Way too soon, that guy. All right, your meta going anywhere?
He'll move into J3. So, yep, J4, J3, and then he'll be able to jump in there and get those casualties.
All right. You've still got these 3 here under the flare. Well, that flare has gone away.
Yes. I'm not going to be able to... Oh. Yeah, actually, the medic will go to them.
All right. Cool. Yeah, now that opportunity fire is taken, you're assuming that you're going to wipe out that hex, which I also would make a fair assumption. Oh my god. Okay, we have to be ready for the mother of all assaults. All right, let's say the Damon football chant. You gotta get your head kicked in. That kind of makes sense. I would not disagree with that assessment. Let me give it my careful military operational assessment here. I would say that's accurate. We're looking at 35.
The platoon is attacking a command squad.
Yeah, platoon. 2 officers and a radio man. So we got 35 points, -2, versus 8. That's 4-1. 35-4 is 4-1. We're in a wash. Neither of us have grenades. -2 commander, -2 commander. So 4-1. You have to roll a 10 or less on 2d6.
Okay.
Here comes an 11.
An 8.
Yep.
Ooh.
No worries. That's a successful assault, and that is game. Now, the only issue is that did cost you 5 casualty points.
Yep.
3
So it'll be
units in there, and 2 for the rocks.
Yep. So that'll be a.
So you can knock down 1 to a half.
And then pin everyone else.
Did I do this again? No, I got it. Here we go. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then Keegan can kind of rally people.
Yep.
And there's now also going to be a casualty pointer in there. Sweet. Okay, after action phase, this medic automatically evacuates one casualty. There are 3 Argentinian casualties in that hex. I'll just put them off to the side for now.
Yep.
Okay, now you've got these 3 guys are toast. Do not delete the map, fool. Just the guys, including the ones you accidentally copied. Okay, you got an officer in that hex, and you have a full half squad in there that is not pinned. So,
Yep.
does the half squad want to try to evacuate the casualty?
Yep, the half squad will try and evacuate a casualty.
That's a 7 or less because he's elite.
Double sixes.
Oh no! All right, no worries. Keegan is going to try to rally some of these squads. He gets an 9 or less. 6 is the standard roll, goes up to 7 because they're elite. -2 for the officer, so that 7 goes up to a required 9. 9 on 2d6 twice.
Double 1.
Oof.
And an 8.
Cool. They both rallied. Awesome. All right, and that is game because I literally have 1 medic left, and he's just gonna say, later, guys." All right. And then we'll assume that everybody that is left, oh my god, survives. So, not that points are really an issue at this point because this game kind of went wonky. But just for fun and to wrap up the stream. Okay, secured casualty. The sun came up and the medevac helicopter came in and saved everybody. Came in,
Yep.
came in. There's been enough bleed outs on this table. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so these are your casualty points. These are my casualty points. Secured, secured, secured. Not secured. So annoying. Oh my god. These poor Argentinians got butchered. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. All right, that is 7 secured casualties equals 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 unsecured casualties. Oh my, equals 72. Yeah, so we're like pushing 100 now. In fact, we're at exactly 100. So that's 100 points worth of fatalities there and losses. I did take 1 casualty back as a prisoner, so that's -8. So that is 92, and I own one victory hex. That's another 5 off. That's going to be 87. Okay, that's the British score against the Argentinians is 87. All right. That doesn't make a lick of sense, dude. No. Sorry, 92. And this is when I'm counting up Argentinian victory points. What I need to be doing is I'm figuring out the British score. You own 4 out of the 5 objective hexes. That is add 20 plus 92 equals 112. UK score is 112. Sorry, I got that completely backwards. Now, when I'm counting up British victories, what I'm really doing is adding up the Argentinian score. So 5 points for my 1 remaining for my 1 remaining victory hex. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Secured casualties, that's 32. Then 1, 2, 3 unsecured casualties. That is 3 times 8 is 24. And subtract from my score these 16 points for 2 captured Argentinian casualties. Minus 16. 37 plus... Oh, get the calculator out. So, again, 5 for my 1 victory point, 32 for secured casualties, 24 for unsecured casualties. Then I lost 2 prisoners, 45. So that's a 45 to 112 victory, I think, for the British. That game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 8 is 72. I took 1 prisoner back. Subtract 8. 92. Plus you own 4 out of the 5. It's 5 points per victory hex. Plus 20. Yeah, 100. Oops. 28. Plus 72. Plus 20. I'll get it right yet. 72 plus 28 plus 20 is 120 minus 8. Yeah, 112. Versus, what was I say, 45? Yeah, that's an ass whipping right there. But then again, once you take away my eyes, what the hell am I supposed to do? 32 plus 24 minus 16. Yeah, 45. 45 to 112. Oh my God. That was a true curb stomping. But hey, that's good.
That sniper though, I'd be
Yep. Once you took away that mortar team, that's literally, that gives you free movement. You know, once you can do that. When I dropped that first flare during your assault movement phase, you were like, "Oh my God, I can't move now."
that was exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Once the sniper hits that mortar team, there go all the rest of the illumination flares. That's it. Obviously, this is the first live playtest of this expansion, so I can't really give it a bill of health yet, but especially with a game that wildly one-sided. But hey, if nothing else, darkness was really a factor. So I would say we got that part right.
Yeah, definitely. Darkness is really cool.
Sweet. All right, guys. So that is our first live attempt. Again, we've played games before, but that was solitaire, so I shouldn't say I've played. Solo games, playtesting it when I was making the Op Center series on the Falklands a couple months ago. But this was the first live game versus live opponent, much less on Twitch here for everybody to see. So let us know what you think in the comments. Yeah, this one got messy. That's for damn sure. As far as our battle goes. So any thoughts, Dylan? What'd you think? Like, what parts went well, what parts didn't? Do you think?
That darkness was as you said, was key. Like losing that mortar, I was paralyzed by those flares.
Yeah.
For the defender to have access to flares is pretty much mandatory.
Well, yeah, you have to. Otherwise, the attacker's literally just going to walk up on you, knock on the door, and chuck a grenade in.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, once you lose the flares, it's pretty much game over.
It'd be very interesting to see how something like a 2003 invasion of Iraq, the Marines going in, how they would work against, insurgents with night vision goggles versus guys without flares, how that would work.
Well,
that's way down the track.
Yeah, good point. But then that's when we go back to the full asymmetrical gaming, like IDF versus PLO. You're basically kids with rocks. One kid in 3 has an AK-47 or something. Okay. Yes, but that's when you get 1 point versus 2 points versus who knows what. Yeah, that's definitely going to be the nasty part, is when that game gets that asymmetrical. But yeah, it's totally possible. I don't think the game is limited, especially with the asymmetrical rules that we've come up with for that. But that would definitely be a reversion back to what we've been playing more recently with our Vietnam games, where one side doesn't care about casualties, one side doesn't have to worry about getting evac'd off the table, and so on and so forth. Yeah. But the Falklands were weird because it's one of the few times you see regular armies really going at it. even then, the armies were by no means on the same level, to be perfectly honest. But at least they were both regular forces. Other than that, what are you talking about? You're talking about what? Desert Storm, Iran, Iraq, 80 to 88. I mean, that's really about it as far as regular armies. After that, it's all insurgents. But that's modern war. So, all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and close out the stream. Thanks very much, Damon. Yeah, the game was fun. I'm not entirely sure I liked that assault against those elite troops. I thought they were going to be tougher than that. Then again, I did roll a 5. That really should have been a disaster. But I guess with a wild luck, obviously to play test the system, you have to play more than one game. This game, although it was fun, I definitely enjoyed it. I would not consider it a good play test. There were too many wild rolls. Snipers taking out the mortar team, a bunch of Argentinian conscripts wiping out elite British paras that were now valorous with a lucky die roll. There was a lot of lucky die rolls. It was fun, lucky die rolls on both sides, but I don't think we got an honest temperature of this expansion yet. I mean, with that, in order to see how the game really works, you need a couple games with nice average die rolls to kind of see how it really plays. That said, wild games are fun. I mean, crazy shit happens. That's that never gets old. All right, guys, I'll go ahead and close out the stream. Thanks very much, Damon. Thanks very much, everyone, for coming out and checking us out here on Sitrep Podcast. Again, we got our merch going. In fact, let me go ahead and turn on Mr. Webcam here. Cool. So, hope you like the stream. We are now a Twitch affiliate, so thanks very much for all your support with that, guys. If you want to subscribe to us, I think you can now. You can also use your Amazon Prime subscription if you want to support us. That would, if you're an Amazon Prime member, if I'm getting this right, doesn't cost you anything, but it still supports us. You're allowed one Amazon Prime subscription per customer, if I'm getting that right. And the Risking Shot glasses are for sale on Zazzle.com. The new Op Center should be going out sometime this next week. I believe it's Friday for Patreon supporters. Might be Saturday for everybody else. That's going to be on YouTube and Podbean and on tabletop.com. And we got one more piece of our Poland game. That's not really Modern Warfare, but we've been doing it for the 80th anniversary of the beginning of World War II. So we have one more podcast coming out, or one more game recording coming out for the games that Yavasa and I have been playing in Panzerleader 1939. Again, not really modern combat, but that's, that it is what it is. And again, like I said, one more piece of Op Center coming out for Vietnam. That completes our 4-part series for Vietnam. I honestly don't know what we're going to be doing after that. There are a few ideas in the works, but nothing's really been finalized yet. So, we'll see what happens after that. Thanks very much, everybody. I'll go ahead and close out the stream now. And thanks, everyone, for coming out. Thanks very much, Damon, Because Science Teacher, again, Elisar, Novus Templar, people who came out and watched us on the stream. Super appreciated, as always. And I will be in touch later on this week. Take it easy, everybody.
See you guys.
Are you looking to become a Tier 1 operator in the gaming world? Elevate your games with Black Site Studio Terrain.